Regular meeting of the Planning Commission is called to order April 28th, 2026. We'll now take a moment of silent prayer or meditation, and will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance with Commissioner Heng. Please stand.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Arturo, will you call roll?
Of course. Commissioner Eng?
Here.
Commissioner Eng? Commissioner Reyes? Commissioner Castellanos? Absent. Vice Chair Lewis?
Here.
Chair Becerra?
Here.
Thank you.
Tonight we have the minutes from the regular meeting on March 24th, 2026. Does anyone have any amendments to the minutes? The minutes are approved as presented. Would anyone like to speak on an item that is not on the agenda? This is a time for oral communications, and if you have anything that you would like to say, you need to fill out a pink card. Anyone? Okay. We have no items on the consent calendar this evening, so tonight we have two public hearings. First, we'll hear General Plan Amendment number 25-01, which is a zone change. There's also precise plan, tentative track map, pre-permit, mitigative negative declaration, and we have an applicant, Luisa Filetto. Is she here? Okay. Okay, so Arturo, who will present the staff report?
Thank you. Tonight, Contractor Planner Jeff Anderson will present the staff report.
Good evening. I am a contract planner with the city, and my name is Jeff Anderson, as Art just covered. The public hearing tonight is for a project at Del Norte school site at 1501 West Del Norte Street. The proposal requires the approval of the following: a general plan amendment to change the land use designation from civic schools to neighborhood medium density and to parks and open space. A zone change to change the zoning from single family residential to specific plan and open space. A precise plan to allow the development of 232 units. A tentative track map to allow the subdivision of the property for the sale of units. And a tree removal permit to allow the removal of one significant tree that's located on the property. The lot size of the school site is 13.62 acres. The location is on the northeast corner of Del Norte Street and Nora Avenue. Surrounding uses include single-family residential to the south and west, open space to the north, which is Del Norte Park, and office and single-family residential to the east, as well as a portion of the park site, which is to the east. The project site is adjacent to Del Norte Park to the north and a portion to the east, near the tennis courts. The site was used as an intermediate school until 1989. More recently, it was used as a regional occupational program technical center. When the ROP Center relocated, the West Covina Unified School District contracted with the applicant MLC Holdings to sell the property. The project site is improved with school buildings, parking lots, open space, and baseball fields. The applicant submitted a proposal for 232 residential units. These units would be market rate units. Two types of units are proposed: two-story single-family units and three-story attached townhome units. Each unit includes a two-car garage, some of which are tandem garages, and there are 62 guest parking spaces for a total of 526 total parking spaces on the site. A common area is located in the center of the project and includes a swimming pool and other amenities. Del Norte Street will be extended through the subject property to intersect with Sunset Avenue. The street parking will be added in that extension. The extension of the street will be dedicated to the city for street purposes. The applicant has prepared a revised plan since the last scheduled hearing in January. And some of you may recall there was original hearing in December, which time I believe there was 280 some odd units, and then they revised that for a hearing in January to 262 units, and now they've revised it further. So the current proposed plans only have 2- and 3-story units. The proposal is for under 20 units per acre, and the maximum building height is 3 stories, 38 feet. The proposal is for 232 units and includes a 1.45 acre park dedication of the ball field on the northeast corner of the subject property. This dedication would become part of Del Norte Park. The amount of open space has increased from 115,000 and change to 208,000, almost 209,000, which includes the park dedication. The subject property is, so just a note on the sizes, because if you read through things, you may see different sizes, and there's a reason for that. The subject property is 13.62 acres, but the proposal also entails a street dedication to extend Del Norte Street to Sunset Avenue, and that dedication reduces the overall project to 13.19 acres. Now the proposal also includes a park dedication of 1.45 acres. The park dedication reduces the project size to 11.74 acres. So the development proposed is 11.74 acres. This is the proposed site plan. The site layout consists of single-family houses on the frontage of Del Norte Street and Nora Avenue, and multifamily housing in the north, central, and east part of the development adjacent to the park and to the office used to the east. The park dedication would be in the northeast corner of the site. And you can see that there with the outline of the ball field showing on the aerial below. 2 points of vehicular access are proposed, one on Del Norte Street and one on Nora, which is the exact same thing that those of you who are here saw at the hearing in December. Vehicles would access garages and units through a system of drive lanes which comply with fire lane regulations. The north and east setbacks are a minimum of 10 feet in width, and paseos are proposed to allow pedestrian access to all the units, especially those are the ones that are the multifamily units into the central and northern part of the site. There are 2 plan types of single-family houses and 3 plan types for townhouses. In addition, there are 2 architectural styles proposed. So I prepared slides for each type, and I'm going to go through them fairly quickly. In addition, there are mirrored plans for each of the floor plans as well. I won't show the mirror. I'm only going to show the type so you get an idea of the floor plans and the elevations. So this is the floor plan for what they call Plan 3222. It's a single-family unit. It is 1,678 square feet, 3 bedrooms, and 2.5 baths. This is the proposed floor plan for Plan 3522, which is 1,957 square feet, 4 bedrooms, and 3.5 baths. This is the floor plan for Plan 1 for the townhomes, which is 1,226 square feet, 2 bedrooms, and 2.5 baths. This is the floor plan for Townhome Plan 2, which is 1,470 square feet, 3 bedrooms, and 3 bathrooms. This is the floor plan for Townhome Plan 7, which is 1,755 square feet, 4 bedrooms, and 4 bathrooms. There are 2, as I said, there are 2 architectural styles proposed, and in addition, at the end of the rows of the buildings, the applicant has agreed to provide enhanced elevations with extra treatment and details to provide interest on the elevations facing the park and at other locations within the development that are visible. I'm going to present 10 slides of the architectural style. So this first one shows the elevations of the seaside style for Plan 3222, which is a single-family unit. The building height is 24 feet and 3 inches. This is the Spanish style for Plan 3222. This building is 24 feet and 2 inches in height. This is the seaside style for Plan 3522. Again, a single family. Here the building height is 24 feet, 3 inches. This is the Spanish style elevations for that same plan. The building height is 24 feet and 6 inches. The next few slides are elevations for the multifamily townhome units. There's a variety of sizes of those. This is the seaside style for the fourplex type of unit, and the building height here is 37 feet and 2 inches. This is the seaside style for the sixplex units, and this building height is 37 feet and 10 inches. This is the Spanish style for the fourplex, and the building height here is 37 feet and 2 inches. This is a Spanish style for the sixplex, and the building height here is 37 feet and 10 inches. That is the highest building proposed. This is 37 feet, 10 inches. This is the seaside style for the eightplex, and the building height here is 37 feet and 10 inches. This is the Spanish style for the eightplex, and the building height here is 37 feet and 10 inches. For parking, each attached and detached unit has a two-car garage. Of the 232 garages provided, 155 are side-by-side two-car garages, and 77 are tandem front-to-back two-car garages. A total of 464 parking spaces are provided in the garages, and a total of 62 guest parking spaces are provided in addition to that. So a total of 526 parking spaces are provided for the units, which is 2.27 spaces per unit. In addition, the detached houses have driveways that allow for additional 2 cars to be parked in the driveway. That's an additional 68 parking spaces that are available in those single-family houses. Street parking is allowed on the surrounding streets. In the newly developed portion of Del Norte Street, there are 11 parking spaces that will be added on the south side of that street and marked as shown on the plans. Regarding site design, there'll be walls and fences installed for the project. Fencing will be installed where adjacent to neighboring properties. Solid walls and fences along the east side, 3-foot walls and 3-foot tubular fencing on most of the north area that's adjacent to the park and the ball field. And fences will also be installed around each of the single-family units. Due to the proximity of the project to the ball field outfield, a condition has been included that the HOA would be responsible for installing netting to protect individuals, vehicles, and units if there was an issue with errant balls coming over the fence. The Nora and Del Norte frontages would be open front yards for the single-family units, so no fencing there. Common open spaces would be provided through the development, with the largest being the central open space of 21,000 square feet, which includes a swimming pool and other amenities. Other open space areas include the yards of the single-family houses, paseos between the multifamily units, and other open spaces that are situated around the development. A tract map would be recorded to subdivide the properties to allow for the sale of the single-family lots and to allow air rights subdivision of the multifamily properties. This is the landscape plan as proposed, and the landscaping will be distributed evenly around the project. This is a school site development comparison chart. We didn't have this at the last hearing, but some of the questions that were asked, we thought it would be helpful to understand the projects, the various school site projects that have been developed over the past 5-6 years. Both Pioneer and Vincent were approved in 21 and are obviously completely done and occupied at this point. I don't necessarily mean to go through this. I'm not going to go through this item by item, but I did want to note that it's provided in the staff report, and it provides a comparison. One of the main differences is the city's clearly been, for those of you who don't know, I retired from the city in 2020, so some of you guys know me, some of you guys don't. But for the whole time I worked here, about 20 years, it was a 300-foot noticing range. Well, that was increased to 500 a couple years ago, and now this project was asked to do 1,000 foot. So the previous two projects on Pioneer and Sunset did a 300-foot notification. This one has done 1,000 feet. This is also a chart. There was some discussion at the December meeting about the regional housing needs assessment requirements, which aren't specifically related to this project, but they are related to the project because since 1969, the state has required all local governments to plan for housing needs of the community, future housing needs of the community. The process starts with the State Department of Housing and Community Development, called HCD, determining how much housing is needed in the next 10-year period. I'll use that term. It's not really 10, but it's close to 10. Each city in California is then required to adopt housing elements which indicate how the city will meet their assigned local housing needs. The housing need is specified in different ranges of housing affordability, including very low, low, moderate, and above moderate, which is market rate, which is what we're talking about in this project. It's market rate housing. West Covina was assigned a number of 5,346 units for the city to allow to be developed between October 15, 2021 and October 15, 2029. So currently we are at 511 units. So the units needed is 4,835. So it's not specific about this project, but it's about the math that the city is going to be asked to present to HCD when the next housing element comes around. As I said, there is a tree removal permit required. There is one oak tree. This is an aerial of the site. It's kind of in between some of the existing school buildings there, right up against Del Norte Street. They are planning to remove that. The applicant held 5 community outreach events, 3 in 2025 before they completed the project, and 2 more after the hearing in December. So 1 in July, 2 in August of 25, and then 1 in February and 1 in March of this year. Issues discussed at those various meetings, this is all of them added together. These are not separate. Traffic and congestion, guest parking on site and along Nora and Del Norte, and whether it is sufficient, an RV parking prohibition, gating and fencing proposals, price estimates for the units and lack of affordability, the proposed type of residential units, 2-story developments in the area, and why high-end homes were not proposed, when homes would be available for purchase and an interest list sign up, if items from the school will be donated before it's demolished, removing 2 fields from Little League access, the benefit to the park of the dedication, Little League use, and existing dog park to remain, the proposed pool for homeowners, and not enough amenities provided for the density, police impacts or requirements for impact fees and the requirements for calculating impact fees, and construction impacts. Now we're going to change gears a little bit and talk about California Environmental Quality Act requirements. That's what we call CEQA. The analysis was completed by Rincon Consultants, and we have John Moreland here representing them that will speak to that.
Good evening, members of the West Covina Planning Commission. My name is John Moreland. I'm the Director of Community Planning with Rincon. We were brought on board to conduct an environmental review for the project, and pursuant to state law and the city's CEQA guidelines, we have determined that the project needed an initial study, mitigating negative declaration, or an ISM&D. This slide shows the process for the ISM&D, which was initially prepared. Then the city released the ISM&D for public review from October 28th, 2025, and extending the required 30-day period to December 1st, beyond the 30-day to account for the Thanksgiving holiday. Then we responded to comments and prepared the final ISM&D. And when this project goes to City Council, the City Council will adopt the ISM&D, then make the decision on the project. Next slide, please. CEQA guidelines include 20 different environmental topics, ranging from aesthetics to wildfire. In our review, there are 6 different environmental issue areas where significant impacts could occur, needing mitigation. In all other environmental issue areas, a proposed project was found to have either no impact or less than significant impact, without the need for mitigation measures. The 6 different environmental issue areas which needed mitigation included biological resources, cultural resources, geology, hazards and hazardous materials, noise, and tribal cultural resources. The mitigation measures included in the ISM&D included avoiding nesting birds, procedures for the unanticipated discovery of cultural, paleontological, or tribal resources, testing existing buildings for hazardous materials prior to demolition, conducting a Phase 1 environmental assessment, installing noise barriers during construction, restrictions on construction equipment, and the retention of a Native American monitor prior to grading. Next slide, please. When the ISM&D was circulated for public review, the city received 2 comments on the ISM&D, one from the Los Angeles County Sanitation District and one from Caltrans. The Sanitation District comments were informational, whereas Caltrans comments included requests to study queuing and multimodal conflicts. Responses to comments have been prepared and are attached to the staff report, and the comments provided do not require any revisions to the ISM&D. Next slide, please. Since the public review of the ISM&D, the applicant, as Jeff mentioned, has modified the project description by reducing the number of units from 282 to 232, also providing a park and removing the 4-story housing type. Pursuant to CEQA, the city, any city would need to re-release an ISM&D if one of 2 conditions were met. First, does the modifications introduce new significant impacts? And secondly, do the modifications require new mitigation? We have reviewed the 20 environmental issue areas and determined that the modifications do not introduce new land use types, nor does it expand the previously analyzed development footprint. Therefore, the revised project would not result in any new or increased severity of significant environmental impacts beyond those that were circulated in the ISM&D. As such, no additional environmental review or documentation was required for the revised project under CEQA, and we prepared a finding of consistency memorandum indicating how the modifications to the project would affect the 20 issue areas as attached to the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you.
So in conclusion for the staff report, planning is recommending approval of the project. The staff has prepared resolutions for the general plan amendment, the zone change, the precise plan, tentative track map, and tree removal permit. Findings have been made and provided in the staff report and in the resolutions. Conditions of approval have been included in the resos, including conditions requiring enhanced elevations, a final landscape and irrigation plan, a detailed wall and fence plan, compliance with the Art and Public Places Ordinance, and the submittal of CC&Rs, and a homeowner's assistance program. Staff is recommending that the Commission recommend approval to the City Council. And the other options available to the Commission include continuing the hearing or denying the proposed project. Just one note before I conclude: there was some information brought. As you may be aware, there's a posting requirement that the applicant is supposed to post a board on the site that announces the hearing, and that was done in the time frame, the 30-day time frame. We have photographic evidence of that. But I guess there was some confusion in removing old signs, and then maybe for some reason one of the signs fell down, either a storm or vandalism or something. So we were notified of that late last night. So Art and other staff members were able to get that put back up today. And so we are comfortable with the fact that it was posted as required. And I'll conclude my staff report. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Thank you for that thorough report. Now we'll open a public hearing. Would the applicant like to come up? Oh, okay, thank you.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Luisa Folletto. I am the Director of Entitlements with Meritage Homes. We are the applicant for this project. I just want to first start by thanking staff. This project we started, there was different staff here at the city. We went through that transition. They've been phenomenal to work with, keeping this moving forward and bringing forth, what we think is the best project before you tonight. I'm going to walk through a little bit of who Meritage is, what we do, how we build, some of the changes that you saw through the iterations of site plans, some of the outreach we did, and just some project renderings as well. Next slide, please. So Meritage Homes, we are the 5th largest publicly traded home builder based on homes closed in the U.S. We have been around for 40 years. We operate in 12 states, 31 markets, and we have built over 200,000 homes to date. Southern California has been a division for us since 2004. Right now we have 10 actively selling communities, 10 under construction, and about 21 in either planning or final engineering stages. Next slide, please. So a bit about Meritage. One of the things that we really pride ourselves in is the fact that we have won numerous awards and accolades. So we have been an 11-time Energy Star Partner of the Year award, certified, all of that. But one of the things we're most proud about is the Avid Awards that we have received. So Avid is a third-party customer service survey program, and they work with large national builders, public builders, small builders, and they do a 1-year move-in survey or a 1-month move-in survey, and then they do a 1-year survey to see how the process has been. And our division here in Southern California has actually won the top award nationally. I want to say 3 or 4 times in the last 5 years, and we have. We're just really, really proud of that because customer service is something that we really pride and focus ourselves on. Next slide, please. So this slide is just touching on some of our environmentally conscious green features. So as I mentioned, we're triple certified through the EPA. In 2010, we became the first national home builder to have all of our homes be Energy Star certified. We provide solar, they are all done with EV ready. But 2 things I want to focus on are spray foam insulation and conditioned attics. So we use spray foam insulation. This creates a better insulation than your traditional style, and it actually, especially in townhome communities, really helps mitigate noise from neighboring units as well as noise from outside in. And then our conditioned attics, we are completely enclosed, so we don't have any ventilation or anything like that. It reduces your fire risk. It actually helps keep your home better insulated, so we see reduced energy bills, air conditioning, all of that. So 2 things we're really, really proud that we bring in all of our homes. Next slide, please. So one of the things Meritage focuses on operationally is that we target a first-time home buyer or a first-time move-up buyer. That means that we try to target this missing middle housing. And that is, you're not quite your traditional single family, you're, 6,000, 7,000 square foot lot, but you're not into a mid-rise, high-rise, podium or wrap apartment kind of project housing type. So that can be duplexes, it can be townhomes, triplexes. We like working in that area because while it does mean you're slightly higher density, it allows more homes, so you're able to spread the development costs over more homes and keep your home prices lower. So again, really trying to target that first-time home buyer and keeping our price points attainable. And we find in most of our communities that, we work really hard to make, while it might be slightly higher density than surrounding uses, really trying to work to blend that as seamlessly as possible. Next slide, please. So high level, starting off about the site, we are about half a mile north of where we are right now, downtown in City Hall, kind of right on the border of the city, as you can see. Next slide. So this was the original project concept. As Jeff mentioned, it was 282 homes. We had the 3 different housing types: the single family, the 3-story towns, and the 4-story stack flats. When we came before you in December, this was technically what it was, but we were pivoting already at that point to the next iteration, which, next slide, please, was the reduced plan we presented kind of live and in person. Was the 260 home concept, where we eliminated the 4-story stacked flats, which reduced our overall building height. It reduced our unit count. It brought us down to under 20 to the acre, so we were no longer pursuing a residential high general plan designation. And from conversations, trying to understand what the best thing we could bring based on community feedback and concerns we heard, is where we landed on this next plan. So next slide, please. And that's what's before you today. As Jeff mentioned, it's 232 homes. There's still the 34 single-family homes that front on Nora and Del Norte, and then the remainder of the site is 198 3-story townhomes. In the northeast corner, we did carve out 1.45 acres for that park dedication. And when we were weighing what we could do based on community concerns, this really landed as the best option we could do. In our opinion, it created a legacy investment that would benefit citywide, not just, we heard concerns about provide more open space on site. Well, that would really be benefiting the residents of this, versus this opportunity here to do a 1.45 acre dedication is something that expands the existing Del Norte Park, and it becomes a benefit for everyone in the city. It will keep the existing improvements, which adds another baseball field to the city. The field right now, where it was currently designed, Little League would rent from the school district on occasion. I don't think they've done it in the last year or two. But the field at the end of the day was undersized with where the fencing's at. So with the dedication area, we actually are able to provide the full standard size of a farm league field, plus the safety buffer, and then some additional landscape area beyond that, which we think is an amazing value to bring to the city, to bring another field into operation at this park and provide that to the community. And I just really want to note that obviously West Covina is primarily built out, so this opportunity to provide additional parkland is a permanent benefit that can't be taken back or converted down the line. Next slide, please. So our outreach efforts that we did, as Jeff mentioned, we started with a 500-foot radius, and typically as we do, we look at where that line falls and try to include homes that we think are going to be, oh, my neighbor got it, why didn't I get it? Try to include that end of block. So that's kind of those expanded pockets you see outlined in yellow. And next slide, please. So we sent out FAQ mailers. This is something we do standard. It covers some high-level project facts. This was done back when we were still proposing the 4-story stack flats as well, and we're the 282 homes. And then we just have some frequently asked questions about how Meritage operates, what the community can expect in terms of HOAs, CC&Rs, different things like that. Next slide, please. So we held, as Jeff mentioned, we had 2 community meetings that Meritage hosted, and then we also participated in a town hall hosted by Councilmember Gutierrez. Next slide, please. And then this year we did a couple more outreach things. So Councilmember Gutierrez hosted another town hall in February. This was kind of right as we were getting ready. We had just submitted kind of for the pivoted concept plan with the reduced units and the park dedication. So we were able to kind of give a high-level update to people, and the benefit, which we appreciate, that Councilmember Gutierrez's town hall had, was he went out to his entire district with noticing about this meeting. So we felt really happy that there was additional people beyond the neighborhood we could speak with. So we did kind of a high-level overview of the changes, how we got to that point. We did about question Q&A for about an hour, and then one of the things we did was we made sure that there were sign-up sheets in the lobby, so if people were outside of the immediate radius, we could include them when we were going to be sending out our mailers for our next meeting, which we had a couple weeks later in March. We hosted it on site at the school again, and where our previous community meetings, we do an open house style where we have all of our consultants come and people are able to kind of move around and talk one-on-one to kind of get their questions answered. This one we did more of a traditional presentation style. Most of the people who attended had attended some of our previous ones, so we knew that they knew a fair bit about the project already. So we were able to, go through the presentation in a little bit more detail than what we had ready at the time of Councilmember Gutierrez's town hall, and have a lot of that dialogue. Our traffic consultant was present to answer some of those specific questions. And one of the things we really did to ensure we could reach as many people as possible with that. So you can see in the graphic, we extended the radius from some of the hearings where we saw people speaking about the project, as well as Councilmember Gutierrez's town halls. We really wanted to make sure that we were capturing the people in the neighborhood, especially north of the park, where that traditional 500-foot radius wouldn't capture. So the expanded radius that you see, and then rather than sending it as a letter in an envelope that might come across as spam or realtor or someone just kind of trying to gimmick you, we did it as a loose postcard, really just like an obvious save the date of like, you can't miss it, you can't accidentally throw it away, hopefully. So we got a really good attendance at that, and we're able to answer a lot of questions that we hadn't had before. So that was a great opportunity. Next slide, please. So as Jeff mentioned, there were a handful of topics that came up during all of these meetings. I'm just going to touch on a handful of these here tonight. Next slide, please. So garage size and storage. Every home proposed is designed with at least a minimum 20 by 20 clear garage. If it's in a side-by-side configuration, your standard garage. Our tandem garages are oversized, so they're 11 by 40. And then in addition to this clear area for vehicles, there is a minimum 160 cubic feet of storage in every garage as well. CC&Rs will be in place in the community that will require all homeowners park 2 cars in their garage. And if needed, like garage inspections and those kinds of enforcement can be done. And then the CC&Rs will also establish that the guest parking on site is for guests. It's not overflow resident parking. And if we need to implement a guest parking program or a guest permit program, we can do so. Next slide, please. So the traffic analysis was completed by our consultant, Urban Crossroads, in coordination with the city. So traffic scoping was completed. The city signs off on that and kind of dictates what intersections they want monitored and kind of the breadth of scope of work. The study overall found that there's two intersections, right? It's the Roland intersections would be the intersections that would no longer pass in terms of level of service. At. I want to make very clear that there's 3 conditions that are looked at. There's current conditions right now, at this point it was 2025. Then there is opening year, which is when the project would be built out in its entirety, which for this was 2029. And then there is horizon year, which would be 2050. And in each of those conditions, they look at the existing and then the existing plus project. And the intersection at Sunset and Roland was the one that flagged as being an LOSF in the opening year, 2029, and the horizon year. And that was going to be failing, I want to stress this, with or without the project. So what that means is it's a flagged thing for the city to know that, hey, this is going to be an intersection we're going to need to look at. And what comes from this report is that the project is obligated to pay a fair share contribution for future improvements of that intersection. So that is one of the things that is a traffic condition in the conditions of approval. The traffic study, I just want to also note, does not include a feature that we added later, which I'm going to touch on next, which is a left turn pocket on Sunset. And it obviously was done when we were looking at the full original 282 homes. So there's obviously some additional reduction of impacts with reducing the project by 50 homes. Next slide, please. So one of the things that came from our initial community meeting that we heard from neighbors, and these are neighbors who live down on Workman, was there's going to be so many people turning on Workman and coming up through Foxdale, through Yaleton, through Hollow. Like, is there anything that can be done about that? And our traffic study was off and running already, and they were like, could Sunset connect through? And so we went back to the city. We said, hey, we heard this. Is this something we can look at? Made sure that everything was done correctly and had our traffic consultant look at that. And that's something that now we're implementing in the project. So Del Norte Street, as Jeff mentioned, is going to be improved and fully connect from Hollow, well, where it currently ends at Hollow, over to Sunset. And it was originally going to be designed as a right in, right out. The street is going to be dedicated for the full 60-foot width. We're providing parking on the south side. But one of the things that we were able to implement, next slide, is this left turn pocket for northbound Sunset, which will allow people coming off the freeway to make a left turn directly onto Del Norte Street now, rather than needing to cut through the single-family neighborhood off of Workman. And so we think that this is going to be a great feature to incorporate. And one of the things that this is going to be able to divert over 35% of project-related trips, in addition to other trips that might use Workman or Roland. And so we're really happy to be able to incorporate this feature into the project. And one of the things that we would hopefully be able to work with the city on is prioritizing this improvement feature to be able to get the turn lane operational. So maybe construction traffic could be done this way versus cutting through the neighborhood as well. That's one of the things we're hoping to be able to work with them on. Next slide, please. So just high level on guest parking that I wanted to focus on. So we have guest parking throughout the project, highlighted in the pink boxes, as you can see. We have the 62 spaces as shown. What's not included in the parking counts that I do want to make sure you're aware of is all of the single-family homes have full two-car driveways in addition to their two-car garages. And the on-street, I mean, we never like to count public parking towards a project, but there are going to be 11 parallel spaces along Nora and Del Norte that are created with this development that are going to be open for anyone to be able to park on. Currently, some of the streets south of the park have preferential parking permit systems in place. And so while we're doing the Del Norte Street dedication and extension out to Sunset and adding those additional parallel spaces on the south side, this project won't actually be able to utilize those because they are, call it grandfathered in for the home south of the street. So it's a nice feature we're adding to the neighborhood, and if there is parking demand, we think that it'll be great to be able to add some additional. Next slide, please. So this is a enlargement focusing on our central recreation area. So as Jeff mentioned, we're providing the pool, shade structures, there's a restroom building. We have some different barbecue pavilions outside of the pool area with a small turf lawn area for if you're having a party or anything like that. There's cabanas, and then there's obviously the guest parking kind of right in proximity to the pool area. And we really like, when possible, to orient front doors to that. It really helps. So the two townhome buildings that kind of frame it on the left or the right really help ground the space and create a really nice central amenity space. Next slide, please. So these are just some of our typical Paseo enlargements, some of the different secondary spaces we have. So within a traditional Paseo, you'll see the meandering sidewalks. Some units have semi-private patio space in front with low patio walls and gates. And then we have some of these secondary seating areas and different features throughout. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, the project is proposing this 1.45 acre dedication, and the interface between the existing park features and the project would have a combination wall that is partially block and then tube steel above, so it really creates a nice permeability and connection between the projects. The field right now is, as I mentioned, undersized, so the distance that we are creating with this carve out provides a standard farm field, so it's 180 feet to the home run line. Then there's the room for the additional 20-foot buffer area, and then there's additional landscaping beyond that. The improvements that are there right now would be included with the dedication to the city, so it would very easily become a amenity that could be utilized right away. And then the current plan, previous plans you had seen included some pedestrian park connections from internal on the project to the park. And we heard mixed reviews from the neighbors on if this was a good feature or not. We chose to remove them right now. But there is flexibility in the specific plan if that was something that the city really wanted to see added back in the future. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, this is the wall and fence plan. So along the northern edge, along the baseball field, and along the tennis courts would have this combination fence, so block wall and tube steel above. As it transitions along Sunset, there's an existing business and an existing residence. That block wall would remain, and then we would provide new block wall on the south side. Our perimeter homes that are either at the corners or at driveways are going to be enhanced with block wall and planting. And then we'll have vinyl fence within for the private rear yards and block wall for the semi-private patio spaces in front of the townhomes. Next slide, please. So this is a view along the Del Norte extension. So just kind of giving a sense of what that single-family street scene would look like. We would be providing fully new curb gutter sidewalk, parkway, planting, street trees, all of that along both Del Norte and Nora. Next slide, please. This is a rendering of the three-story townhome. So that was the old, you can see the old park portal still, but this really gives a nice sense of what that architecture looks like, the movement. The three-story massing steps back to really soften the height, and there's good visual interest in the materials and colors in the elevation. Next slide, please. So this is just a rendering from the park. Obviously, the park plans are kind of in flux now with what the city wants to do, but this really shows what that combination wall will look like. So you can see that it's not just a wall where we're turning our back to the park. We're really trying to create that engagement and interest. And additionally, the homes adjacent to the park will help with the neighborhood aspect of additional eyes on the park and that nice safety feature that's kind of an added bonus. I do just want to point out that because the city is in process of kind of looking at what they want to do with this. There's the park master plan that's going through its process. The city has funds for dog park improvements. So we would work with the city to kind of understand what needs to happen if we needed a different treatment of the perimeter wall at the dog park interface. Next slide, please. So just to kind of reiterate, the proposed site plan, we're eliminating the 4-story stack flats, replacing them with 3-story townhomes. We've reduced the overall unit count by 50 homes, bringing the density below 20 units per acre, and eliminating the mixed general plan request that included a high-density residential designation, lowering the overall height to be 38 feet, increasing the open space on site, and then providing the 1.45 acre park dedication to expand Del Norte Park. Next slide, please. And so, as Jeff mentioned, our current requests. Next slide. And if you have any questions, I'm here. I also have my traffic consultant and my civil engineer if you have any specific questions for them.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, now we will hear those in favor. Mario Alvaro. I'm sorry, I can't read it. I know your name by heart already.
I figured by now. Let's get notes out here. All right. Thank you, Planning Commission, for hearing us out here. I've been following this project for a very long time, and I feel Meritage has definitely done their due diligence. Removing the 4-story homes, reducing the units, granting part of the park back. The biggest thing when I was looking at this was the traffic, which I think initially was part of the mitigated negative declaration. I still can't get that right. But it got pulled aside by the city or traffic commission, and they've done a really good study on that, like what they're presenting here. All in all, I think they've, I guess I also want to remind those that are coming to maybe speak against it that had Meritage allotted a certain amount of these homes to be very affordable housing, that we wouldn't even be here today. It would have been a ministerial review, and it would have just been passed per California guidelines. So the fact that they're here working with the city and with the residents, I think it's a very positive thing. Moving on to city aspect of this, I was talking about the impact fees. Not sure if those got changed so we can get some more money there. Also, art in public spaces, didn't hear anything about that. Not sure if there's money in lieu of that. And I kind of want to make sure all this money that might be in lieu of things is not going to the general fund, that it gets tagged, for actual development of the area of the parks, that it doesn't just get dumped into a general fund. Other than that, I think they've done their due diligence, and, it's a good project. The homes, just going to use my time up here, the aesthetic of the homes along the periphery, I feel look well amongst the houses that would be across the way. The parking, those that live across the street from this would have their preferential parking. The 2-car garage, the extra storage space, and then the 2-car garage being monitored to make sure that cars are in there and, not another family living inside the garage thing. I think it's a good thing there. That's it. So I vote for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura Vieira.
Hi, everybody. How are you? I'm very, very impressed with the improvements that Meritage made. Thank you. Thank you so much. It is 100 times better. The donation of that baseball field back to our whole city is just an amazing improvement, and the size, I think, is appropriate now for the area. So I just wanted to let you all know. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Glenn Kennedy.
Good evening, everybody. As a lifelong resident, I know I'm going to sound like a broken record. I was born and raised on the north side. Even though Meritage is in compliance with everything, they do good work. I've seen their homes before. It's nothing personal against the developer. I'm very upset with the school district for selling the property in the first place, for many reasons. But these are the things you got to look at. So first of all, the traffic. So when you leave Del Norte Avenue and Nora, if you're going to go westbound on the 10, you got to go over to Workman and then over to Orange to catch the 10 freeway. Well, at that point, Workman is a residential street, and it's already crowded. The people who live on the north side, because nobody else lives over there, it's crowded. It's always packed, and they probably did their traffic study, but nobody lives over there. And I think they need to redo it. Also, the parking. So you're going to put in 240 units, and you're only going to have 60 guest parking? So that's one for every 4 units? Really? Where's everybody going to park? Do you think no family members are going to come over? You think everybody's just going to be 2 people living in the house? If you do, you're delusional. So they need to come up with more parking. And other than that, I know you have to approve it. They're in compliance with everything the city has thrown at them. They pass everything with flying colors, and you have no choice to approve it, or you will be sued. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Justin, Harvey, you didn't put if you were for or against. Come on up.
Hi, how's it going? Thank you for allowing me to speak. So basically, same thing. A lot of my concerns were voiced, were kind of cleared with this new change. So that has been good, but there's just still a few things. Like one concern is parking. Even if the project meets the requirements, real life can look really different. I live in apartments right now, and just for the units that we have right here on Sunset, it's already overfilling. It's spilling out onto the street. So with this being, almost 3 times the size, it's going to be hard just to say that everything's going to work out that way. So I do recommend maybe those garages, how they say that they're going to look into checking them or such like that. That actually gets put to use. And also the traffic flow. Sunset may improve circulation, but it may change how drivers move throughout the neighborhood. Speed control, cut through traffic, just adding that many cars on the road. It's already especially right down Roland and Sunset, that's where so many accidents happen, and it's a bottleneck. So just adding that many cars, I don't know how that's going to even look. Other than that, just pedestrian safety, areas that include families, children, park users, sidewalks. Just want to make sure that all that is just treated as important parts of the project, not afterthoughts. Other than that, it's all pretty much all I'd request. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric, Leo?
Good evening, all. Good evening. Really, I don't know if we can get the slide that they showed earlier, the school site development comparison chart. They showed it just a little while ago, the gentleman. I had never seen that, and I appreciate that. I mean, the Meritage Homes, they do excellent work. So the houses and the enclosed attics and everything like that. But when you're showing that chart right now, it says lot size at Pioneer is 9.1 acre, 158 units. Vincent, 8.0 acres, 119 units, and Del Norte 11.7, 232. The numbers are just the percentage. You're moving for high density because we're looking for high profit. The development can continue. It'll enhance the community. It'll be great, but it needs to be lowered. They will still profit significantly with the 160 to 180 range. We don't have to move to this level. They can renegotiate with the school for something, because I don't know if it came up. That slide come up? No, it was anyway. But it's just going on. It's 17 density with Pioneer, but Pioneer and Vincent, they're both on major streets. We're unique. If you look at the developments in West Covina, it's encapsulated by residents. What she stated right now about the density, that the stop sign there at Roland and Sunset failed, and it's going to fail for 2029 or 2027 and 2050 without this impact, and we're going to support it in the future. It's already in need of support. It's already overcrowded. And they say, oh, this is not going to make a significant difference because it already is overcrowded. So she stated right there, it's already a troubled place. I'm 1 block from there, half a block actually. I experience it every single day. So looking at that, 415 parkings for 9 acres, 758 units, 285 parking spaces for 119 units, and then you have 562. So how do you go from 11.7 acres and 9.1 acres, 158 houses, to 232, 556, and 415 parkings? The parkings are just about the same with a quarter of the houses less. That chart is phenomenal. It's great. But Vincent is a major street. The impact is not affecting where kids cross the street, where they're bicycling and skateboarding to school. There isn't a school near the Vincent or Pioneer. We have Del Norte. I'm an educator, and my kids went there. And they still continue to cross the street and need that. We can't do that to our children. We can't do that to our neighborhood. Look at the numbers there. It speaks for themselves. Please just drop it. Instead of the high density, high profit, let's make it ethical and right for everyone. Please.
Thank you. Elvia Ortiz.
I think that the project is trying to be in compliance, but sometimes being in compliance is not always doing the right thing. I think that there is better that can be done for the community. The density, I agree with what I believe Eric is his name, was saying. It is too many homes. I think it can do better, and the parking can do better too. With 3 to 4 bedroom homes, there will be more than 2 driving adults in the homes. And there will be the need for more than 2 cars in each home. We need more parking. We need more open spaces for the people that are going to be living there, to make it even easier for them, and let alone the community that already exists within the surrounding area. In addition to that, I think that the noticing, even though it said that, or they said that it was notified that it fell and it came back up again, I want to mention that I did stop by or was passing by April 10th. That's 18 days ago. April 10th, that sign was already on the floor. And the reason why it called my attention is because there was a family reading a sign that was up. And it was impressive to me because I thought that they were considering showing up to the meeting. And when I approached them, what they were commenting on is, oh, too bad we already missed the meeting because it was on December 9th. And that is the sign that they were reading. I tried to tell them, oh, no, there is another one on this side. And that sign was already on the floor. So the noticing hasn't been properly done. Thank you.
Thank you. Angela Cunningham.
Hello, and my apologies in advance if this isn't the right time to speak about this. We live on Nora, right across the street from where this is going to be taking place. We take pride in the neighborhood and we keep it clean, lawns, no trash. Recently, what I've been noticing is there's a lot of homeless at that park, that they're there in the morning, they're there late at night. I'm not sure if the police are going and patrolling. I haven't seen very many. However, lately there's people living in there's a van that comes and parks in front of our house and in between the neighbor's house. And they're throwing their trash out, letting their dogs jump out of the yard and poop on the yards, not picking it up, just being messy. And so my concern now is with the park being patrolled, if they're going to patrol our streets. And I understand the development people are going to be contributing money, but now is that money going to be used to actually take care of our neighborhood and not the other expensive neighborhoods where all the money's going to go to? I know it's probably not something that I could address here with you, but I understand it's something to take to the city council. But that is my main concern, is the homeless now that are being shooed out of the park, but now parking in front of our homes that we're trying to take care of. Thank you.
Nancy Garcia?
Good evening, Planning Commission. I get a little nervous, so I apologize ahead of time. My name is Nancy. I'm a proud resident of West Covina for the past 26 years. I live in the District 1, and I'm still kind of border on this new development, but I think it's essential that we prioritize our quality outdoor space for our current neighborhood and for the 200 new families that are moving in. It's important to note that the Little League field has been closed for quite a few years and has sadly fallen into despair. And it's unfair for the developer to pass the field, yes, to the city, but in such poor conditions. I don't believe that the city has the funding to be able to repair that field and have it ready for the Little League to keep running and make it into a major field. I propose the following conditions regarding the design and traffic management. Surrounding streets require developer to collaborate with Public Works to implement slow street measures such as speed radars, speed bumps with emergency vehicle accesses on the project's front lawn along Nora Avenue, the Norte and Roland Avenue. This is crucial as all the traffic is being redirected into our neighborhoods due to the Sunset Avenue allowing only right turns. Mandate that the project includes a parking demand management plan, which must be approved by Public Works to ensure proper planning and mitigate any parking overflow into our nearby neighborhoods. Design. The exterior of the building should feature decorative elements that wrap around the building, including trims, material variations, and stylish details to enhance the visual appearance. The stacked flats must have covered balconies instead of open trellises, which do not provide adequate shading or protection from the rain and other weather elements. I also would like to discuss some of the art fund, because I believe you're going to be receiving some money. I would propose if this committee could allocate or direct that mural or whatever art piece is going, that it stays in Del Norte, as well as whatever funds we receive from this project, that it gets reinvested to District 1, since it's going to be affecting District 1. I also would like to be notified of any upcoming council hearings, because the way I found out was, luckily, my council member sent out notices. And so that was the first time that I ever heard of this project. And I got the notification, and I reached out to the Little League because I felt like it was important. So this was the notification. That was the only thing that I heard about this project coming about. I knew the land was going to be sold. I know a lot of the school districts are doing that because they don't have the attendance to be able to keep it going. But at the same time, I feel like there could have been better notification to the people that are outside that 400 or 500 radius. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'd like to give the applicant a chance if you'd like to address any of the concerns.
Yeah, so just a few things. The project will be obligated for park and lieu fees because while we're providing the park dedication. It's not the full obligation, so there will still be a remainder park in lieu fee that is about $961,000. We will be doing an art in public places in lieu fee, which is a percentage of the development costs, and so that's going to be $378,000 to the city. And then general development impact fees for the homes themselves is about $384,000. So we're looking at about $1.7 million in impact fees to the city. We are all for it if there's a way to ensure that the funds are able to stay in District 1 and be implemented in this area. We are all for that. I'm not sure the mechanism for that with the city. My traffic consultant is here if you have specific questions on that, but I do just want to touch on the last speaker who asked about some of the different things that could be implemented. So in addition to the standard conditions for traffic related to the fair share contributions, they did actually implement a number of traffic calming measures for the surrounding area. So those are actually already included in the conditions of approval for the surrounding streets. So I want to say it goes up to Roland, stuff down on Workman over to Orange as well. So in that general area, there will be improvements that the project is obligated to do in that immediate area. With parking is always a challenge on infill. We recognize that. We have found that, I can say that our experience is that because we target a first-time home buyer, first-time move-up buyer, a majority of our households really are only those, 2 adults driving, and that we don't see a lot of multi-adult households living in our communities. Not to say it doesn't happen, but our HOAs with the CCNRs have been very successful being able to ensure that garages are being used for parking by the residents, that guest parking is getting managed, and that it's not becoming overflow parking for residents, that it is remaining for guests. Regarding, there was one other thing I wanted to touch on. Pedestrian safety, I know that a handful of people touched on that with regards, because there is a school that is to the northwest of the site. The project will be required to do certain, with the traffic calming, there's also making sure that we have safe line of sights and all of that for the immediate project area, so that pedestrian safety being immediately adjacent to the park is at the forefront. And again, kind of reiterating the concerns about the homeless, this project at the end of the day provides additional eyes on a common space in the community, making sure that there are more, at the end of the day, a lot of times it comes down to residents reaching out to their council members, to the city, saying, hey, this is going on, hey, this is going on. And sometimes you got to keep pushing the squeaky wheel to see change. And this is just going to be more people who are going to care about this neighborhood, who want to see this being a thriving park, and providing, that neighbor surveillance, neighbor outreach, making sure that it can be a space used and enjoyed by everyone. So, we think that is going to help hopefully mitigate some of those negative behaviors that can creep up. If you have any other questions.
Would you like to have your traffic consultant come up and address some of those concerns as well?
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Robert Vu. I'm a licensed traffic engineer in the state of California. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have regarding traffic.
The concerns that were brought up by the residents, some of those, I guess, what we're asking that you address those so they can be put at ease, or maybe just have some of their questions answered.
Okay. Regarding the comment about traffic calming, the corridor, we proposed several traffic calming measures within the traffic study for the city to consider to slow down speeds. One common traffic calming measure is to provide on-street parking, and that's documented as a way to slow down speeds, mainly because it provides what we call side friction. It narrows the width of the road. People are expecting any possible doors opening, someone loading their car, or the car merging into traffic, and that, in a way, slows down traffic for that corridor. And there are also proposed speed humps or speed cushions. That's ultimately up to the city's discretion to implement. A lot of the concerns regarding speed humps or speed cushions are slowing emergency response times and increased noise from vehicles going over those traffic calming measures. But it is effective in slowing down speeds. It is documented to reduce corridor volumes, people just using the road as pass-by. It is documented to reduce speeds and traffic volumes. And there are other improvements that could be considered. A roundabout or a traffic circle. Roundabouts typically carry a larger area, and it is documented to reduce conflict points, be safer for vehicles, pedestrians, bicyclists. That can also be considered. Another option for roundabout, if there's not enough right-of-way in the intersection, is a traffic circle, which is almost like a mini roundabout. City of Long Beach does have this through a lot of residential neighborhoods, and it does significantly reduce speeds, especially around the traffic circle. Emergency vehicles are able to go around it if it's designed properly, and overall, it does improve safety for everyone. As far as traffic flow, it is documented in the traffic report that there are deficiencies at Roland, both the North Roland and South Roland, and the project is proposing to pay their fees towards that future improvement, which will help traffic circulation, will help manage left turning conflicts, people waiting at a stop sign. That improvement will give them proper right-of-way control to turn more safely rather than waiting for gaps in traffic. That traffic signal will provide that gap in traffic. As far as pedestrian safety, we did look at sight distance coming in and out of the driveways. There are requirements and standards to keep vegetation at a maximum height. I believe that height is around 30 inches. That's less than 3 feet, and that's someone sitting in a car will be able to see kid, pet, a bicyclist, or pedestrian, as long as that's kept to a minimum. Regarding the let's see. I think that covered the comments that I noted. Did I miss anything?
Workmen, I think they were talking about Workmen as well.
Workmen, yes. Workmen, the project does have traffic utilizing Workmen, but the traffic delays that we analyzed, any queuing along there, there's no deficiencies, and it meets all the city requirements regarding that intersection.
Okay. Would we be able to ask any questions to the consultant from the commission right now, or should we close the public hearing first?
Questions of the applicant?
No, for the traffic consultant.
You may ask now.
Do you have any questions?
I have questions for the applicant.
Yes.
So, sort of just a curiosity of mine. Prior to the last public hearing that we had on the 27th of January, I saw that there was, I guess, an attempt by the city of West Covina to, I guess, try to purchase the parkland, and now it's part of a park or park dedication, I guess. Are you familiar with the fact that the city was trying to buy that parkland from you guys, I guess?
I don't know anything about that. I know when the school district went through its disposition process a handful of years ago, they noticed out to basically, I think there was 10 or 15 different local public agencies and schools to see if anyone was interested, and there was no interest at that time. But in terms of if the city reached out to the school district separately, I'm not aware.
The city didn't reach out to you to purchase the property at all?
No.
Okay. Interesting. I just saw that on a closed session thing, and I was just curious. Now all of a sudden it's part of a donative transfer, which I was like, this is a little strange. All of a sudden it's like everything sort of come together in that manner, and you guys don't know anything about it, which is interesting. Couple things I wanted to ask. First and foremost, on Del Norte specifically, I noticed that you guys didn't have a sidewalk on the other side of the street. Is there a reason why, given the fact that you guys are going to have a significant impact on the ingress and egress as a result of this development? Don't you think it'd be wise to have a sidewalk on both sides of the street?
We have no problem implementing one. Originally, that area was just going to be enhanced landscaping. But when we saw the opportunity to add some parking spaces, we added the parking spaces. We're happy enough to add sidewalk connecting. That's not a problem.
The whole length of that street, otherwise it's just going to be problematic. I mean, ultimately, it's sort of a it sort of was like a cul-de-sac, basically, for lack of a better way of putting it at the time. And now you're going to have a lot of ingress and egress, and all the people who are part of the existing tract there are going to have to cross, and there's really no crosswalk there.
So we would have to look at the city because I'm not sure where the right-of-way technically ends since there isn't improved sidewalk on the south side right now. So that's people's property. So we would need to talk to the city to see if they have easements for right-of-way. Yeah.
If the city has an easement, do you have any problem with doing that, implementing that? I mean, it provide uniformity throughout the rest of the neighborhood as well, in addition to connecting that neighborhood in a way that's cohesive.
I think, initially I would say we're open to those discussions, whether it's a cost sharing or something like that. I would need to look at what the costs for that would be, just given if there's rights or easements or utilities underneath there. I'm not 100% sure, so it could easily kind of spiral into an expensive undertaking. But for at least our portion of Del Norte that we're improving and extending where the parking is, we can add sidewalk there. It's not a problem.
Yeah, I think if you're going to have parking there and some dedicated parking there and no way for people to access it, doesn't really make a lot of sense to me without having sidewalks. But I guess dare to dream. Let's see. With regard to the street-facing perimeter walls, it says in the proposed resolution there's I guess clinging vines to be installed on all retaining and freestanding walls. What does that include in terms of the fencing around the perimeter?
So on that wall and fencing exhibit now, can one of you put the wall and fencing exhibit back up for me?
Is that from your slides?
Yeah, from my slides, it'll be, I want to say number 20, slide 23. So go back. Yeah. There. So the yellow portion is all going to be like your private, like vinyl and inside yard fencing. But those corner elements where it's the dark blue line, that's going to be our block wall. And it's in those areas for both graffiti prevention as well as just kind of softening of a block wall. That's going to be your block wall. So that's where that layered planting, including vines, would be. So really it's those 7 kind of end conditions. that you see. And we would just work with our landscape architect to make sure that that planting is implemented and that it's a plant species conducive to climbing.
Yeah, I would just hope it's not conducive to becoming a rat's nest. That's my biggest concern.
That's not a problem. Our HOA would be responsible for maintaining all of that landscaping so we can make sure it's kept in good order.
I had a question on the CC&Rs that are set forth in the Precise Plan 2501 and the resolution. It says that garages must be available to park vehicles. It doesn't say that they're required to be used.
So that is the city's language. Our actual CC&Rs state that residents need to park their vehicles in their garage.
Okay, so
to park the 2 vehicles in their garage.
all right. So in terms of a modification on QQ, that should reflect that garages must not just be available to park vehicles, but must be used by the occupants.
Correct. We're okay with that modification.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just comment on that. That means if somebody has one car, then the other side has to be available at all times for parking. So you can modify the condition, but that was the intent, not to, because if you only have one car, or somebody doesn't have any cars, then, but that doesn't mean they can still convert their garage into something. They still has to be available, whether or not they're parking cars there. That's the intent of it. But
right.
Feel free to modify it how you think it's.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we've included that language in prior projects, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, it just didn't get translated here. So that was one of the concerns I had. As far as hold on. Next up, I was going to talk about the traffic calming features, I guess. I don't know about the rest of my commission members, but I think that our traffic commission's performance leaves something to be desired. So I would certainly want to make sure that whatever the traffic conditions are in accordance with this project should be reviewed by the Planning Commission, because at least you'll have some actual residents input on this instead of people who just live here and leave at the end of the day. I think that's inherently problematic. So I'd like to see that if this project is to be approved. Let's see. So I did make this request earlier. I wanted to know what is the actual center field depth for that ballpark?
Currently, or
what you're proposing?
So we would be from home plate to the home run line would be 180 feet, which is standard for a farm field. So it is, I want to say that's the 8 to 10 age field for Little League. And then beyond that is a 20-foot safety buffer area. And then there's additional landscaping beyond that before the proposed perimeter wall.
Okay, so the maximum depth is just 200 feet.
Correct.
Okay, so basically we're capped out. We can only use that field basically for up to maybe age 10 tops. In terms of how it's designed. I misunderstood in terms of what in your presentation. I thought it was maybe up to the 200-foot standard, which I understand is usually like through age 13 kind of thing. So it sort of limits the availability of that field for those purposes. But okay, understood. As far as the irrigation system and electrical on that site, I assume that's tied to the existing school site, correct?
So I've been in discussions with the school about this to make sure that it would be an easy enough irrigation swap, because that was one of the things the last few months that's kind of been on my mind, of making sure, hey, if we're giving this over to the city in the future, like we need to make sure it can tie into this park's irrigation system and tie into all of that. So we're in the process of making sure that that would be seamlessly done, and Meritage would obviously make sure that that is completed, or work with the city to ensure that it was done.
The other thing I was going to ask, just with regard to that site, is obviously that's used for, Monday through Friday games, usually from like 5 to 10. That's sort of the timeline. And then in the mornings on Saturdays. But, my concern is, I don't want there to be any expectation from homeowners that are immediately adjacent to the site that, little Johnny can't go up and, get his name announced in the morning because, the new residents don't like it. So is that something that is going to be part of the CCNRs, part of the disclosure?
Yeah,
because it should be.
We would definitely have disclosures not only around the baseball fields being in active use, but also the dog park, because those are existing uses that are enjoyed by residents both in the city and outside of the city. And we wouldn't want to, we would want to make sure full transparency. This is what you're buying next to. This is an existing use. You can't start calling the city complaining about this because nothing's going to. Yeah.
Exactly. That would be a big concern because, then it would be sort of setting it up for an untenable result. So,
You buy a house next to a train track. You don't expect any trains.
Right.
to pass
Exactly.
by.
Shut the trains down. Right. Let's see. Had a few other items. Noise ordinance. I had questions about the locations of electrical transformers, vaults, antennas, mechanical, and other equipment. It says it must be approved by the planning director and provide construction details prior to issuance of a building permit. I think this is under sub Q, under planning division. I think it's good policy that this stuff should be undergrounded. And I think there's no reason why it shouldn't be part of the conditions here.
So you physically, SCE does not allow you to underground transformers for a residential property. So the transformers on site have to be above ground. That is just what SCE.
Oh, excuse me. I understand the cabinets. I know what you're talking about, right? That's what you're talking about.
Big boxes that you see in the neighborhoods, those have to be above ground.
Right. I understand that. I'm talking about the actual lines. I get that. I did want to actually cover one other thing. I just think it's a little strange that, large project comes in and then there's going to be still above ground power lines, and I'm just trying to figure out, particularly along Del Norte and then along Sunset. I'm just trying to figure out, if not now, when is that going to happen? And I understand there's obviously a nexus that needs to be involved in all of this to mandate it, but obviously this is a pretty significant impact on the neighborhood. And so, I just want to see, is that something that you guys can commit to doing, or?
So we evaluated that with our dry utility consultant, because normally in a project, if you have overhead lines, you look at along your frontage what can be done to underground. And so we went through that process, and unfortunately with how the poles on Sunset are, first of all, our frontage on Sunset, it's only 120 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very limited portion. And so, and you can't, there's not necessarily anything that you could obligate for additional, right, on the project. And so when you look at how far the project would have to go based on poles that have existing transformers on them serving power to existing buildings, it becomes a very long span that would have to be undergrounded. That becomes cost prohibitive to the project. And in our initial conversations with SCE, they weren't actually supportive of it. So that's why we're not doing that. But the poles The light poles on Nora that are currently served overhead, because those are getting relocated, shifted with the driveways, those will be redone to be served underground.
Fair enough. Let's see. Unfortunate, but fair enough. Let's see. I think I had one more thing that I wanted to
discuss. The street lights on Nora right now are currently served overhead power. And so because we need to relocate those street lights to avoid driveway conflicts, they will be redone as underground power.
Okay. And then the one on Del Norte, it still remain on the pole in the frontage of the developed area?
The Del Norte frontage will have new streetlights put in as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Del Norte frontage and the Nora frontage of the project will have new streetlights, and they'll be underground power sourced. Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I actually, if the traffic consultant can come back up, we were talking about traffic and particularly Roland and Workman area. You had mentioned that there are mitigations that can be done to improve that in those two intersections.
Yes. So for the first one, Roland, the project is proposing to pay fees towards the installation of a traffic signal at that intersection. It would work similarly to the one at Workman, the existing signal down there. And then as far as Workman, the traffic analysis originally did not consider the left turn from Sunset into Del Norte. With the supplemental analysis that we did, there's less traffic going down Workman and utilizing that turn lane into Del Norte. So the traffic study, it provides a conservative analysis and overestimates the added delay at that intersection. And based on the city's methodology, there is no deficiency at Workman that the project would contribute to or create.
So you're saying by increasing the efficiency of those two corners, paying the fee toward building a street light in the future for those two areas?
In Roland, there's the northerly Roland and then the southerly Roland. In the city's development impact fee program, I believe a traffic signal is identified as an improvement under future conditions, and the project would contribute fees towards that improvement.
Okay. Only that particular location, not at the Workman area.
Correct. Workman is currently signalized, and there are no improvements recommended to address any traffic deficiencies there.
Okay, so by having the traffic light, it actually can help improve the flow of the traffic in that area.
Yes, specifically, it's safer for all users, vehicles, pedestrians, and bicyclists. There'll be a traffic signal to stop cars, give pedestrian crossing right away, bicyclists, and all that. So overall, there will be an improvement in safety and traffic operations.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I had one other follow-up question pertaining to the housing assistance program. Do we know what the approximate entry-level price would be? Like, as if it was built today. I understand market conditions can change and everything, but let's say as of today, what would the initial price be?
Yeah, so we have the townhomes starting in the mid-6s right now, and then the single families, I want to say, are starting in the mid-8s.
Okay. My question on that is just because of the high interest rate environment that we have, and who knows whether or not that's going to change by the time this project hypothetically is completed. My concern is that the amount of, or what is considered, moderate income is not sufficient enough to actually qualify to purchase the properties without significant down payments. So, as a practical matter, I'm curious what happens if you don't have people who are in the low to moderate income range who can even qualify for a loan, whether, if we're talking about first-time home buyers, a lot of people are FHA, so they have pretty sizable loans to begin with, and so they're going to have sizable income. And I was just looking at an $800,000 house hypothetically. Let's say that's what it's at. You're talking with the current interest rate environment somewhere in the range of $200,000, and moderate income in West Covina is somewhere in the 120 range. So how do you bridge that chasm there? That's what I'm very curious about. And if it goes unused, then where does the $15,000 minimum per unit go?
Sure. So the project is setting aside 10% of the homes. So 23, 24 homes will be set aside to be in the city's housing assistance program. Obviously, that program has the different criteria and different ways you can earn the points to qualify and be eligible for that. I want to say on some of our past projects, we've had all the homes sell to buyers. In other situations, we haven't had all of them sell, where we then took the remaining dollar value. We try as much as we can. We do the advertising. We work with the city and make sure that we're getting out there and noticing that these are available. But when you hit a certain point, to keep things moving, we work with the city to do a lump sum into, I forget which fund it goes into, but we've done that in the past to one of the housing funds.
So I guess sort of my follow-up question is, assuming that this is approved, is there going to be some cash contribution or something like that that's going to be proposed at the next council meeting? Is that something that's going to happen?
So that's what we're doing. I want to say right now it's $15,000 contributions and for the 10%. And then Meritage, like all other builders, we have other incentives that we run. So I want to say in some of our communities right now, we're doing rate buy downs. We offer cover closing fees. We offer a bunch of different things because we, at the end of the day, work with our buyers one-on-one to make sure that we can do what we can to help get them into that home.
Understood. I would certainly recommend that in the event that this is not successful, and I think, unfortunately, given the interest rate environment, I think the high likelihood is that it will not be successful. I think you ought to consider putting that into sidewalks and infrastructure, making our city more walkable. I think it's a better investment of the money than sort of gimmicks. Something we can actually see and appreciate. Thanks.
Well, you're talking about 10%. Would that be a reduction in price, or would that be?
So the housing assistance program that the city runs, it is a lump sum contribution to a qualified buyer of a dollar amount.
So would that be able to be used towards down payment?
Yeah, they can down payment, closing costs, however they want to utilize it towards purchase of the home.
So 10% of $850,000, that's quite a bit of
10% of the homes, and then we're talking about a $15,000 contribution right now.
So not 10% of the sales
Not
price?
the purchase price, it's 10% of the total units will be in this.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any more questions?
Louisa, regarding the Little League baseball field, will you be building out that particular baseball field, that corner, the 1-point-something acre?
So we're going to be leaving the existing improvements. Obviously, based on some of the comments we heard, we'll need to talk to the school district about, making sure that we're delivering something that's usable and not in disrepair to the city. So right now, the plan was for the existing improvements to remain, but we'll definitely need to do a evaluation with the school district to make sure that the field is usable and no one's going to get hurt on it.
So at the end of the day, is the school district donating that park, or is it?
So it's part of our purchase. It's part of what we are purchasing, but it's their property right now, and we've talked with them about different things that could potentially be done. So whether it's working with the school district, since they have maintenance staff and different things that can start that process now, or if it's something that Meritage does, I think we're not wanting to necessarily deliver something that's in disrepair to the city. Similar to the irrigation, we want to make sure that we're giving something that's.
Were you able to recoup any of those funds for that area, or did they give you any credit, or would you is that dedicated strictly from what your purchase price was?
We're still working through all of that with the school district.
Because based on looking at the plan and looking at the total project, there is a little baseball at the 1-point-something acre baseball field. So I just want to make sure when the project is said and done, will there be a little baseball field?
Yeah, so the school district is selling us the property as is, right? So that means the softball field that's on the west side, the baseball field, all the buildings, when we close on it, we own that, right? So if the previous project iteration that built out that corner, we would have been demoing everything. And now what we're going to be doing is some irrigation improvements kind of along that property interface, and then making sure that the irrigation is connected to the city, making sure all of that, and then that'll get dedicated to the city at our final map process. So when Meritage, if this were to be approved, just because the tentative map is approved, it's not the final map. So that transfer property process, because there's some of those different improvements and things we need to look at doing, it wouldn't necessarily immediately happen. There's a little bit of time between when the project would be approved and when it would be dedicated to the city.
Did you address the parking spaces when the first modification? Or no, the guest parking spaces? No. Because one of the residents brought up that there are only 62 guest parking spaces, and for 232 homes, it did sound quite a minute amount of parking. Is that something that you would be able to work on? Maybe, I think that residents would rather have parking spaces rather than tennis courts.
So that's city property, unfortunately. So we have no control over that. When we were doing these modifications, we did look to actually maximize as many spaces as possible. And I didn't want to necessarily bring this up. So there's actually 66 guest spaces. It was a counting error on the project summary. So there's actually, it's not significantly more, but it's 66, not 62. And we looked to see how we could maximize as many spaces as we could while still keeping a project that, worked for what we wanted to provide to the city and worked for, what Meritage needed it to be. So, unfortunately, I can't see an easy way to eke out any more spaces. And when you look at the development standards, I know the table showed that the other school projects were able to provide a slightly higher rate. At the end of the day, the city's municipal code does only call for a quarter space, so we're exceeding that obligation.
Understood. Was there any discussions on whether you could, convert those to parking spaces?
The tennis courts? We have not had any conversations with the city around it. I think that would be challenging just because it's open space, and so there's always that challenge of removing open space amenity for parking lots. I'm not sure what that process would be. So no, we never had any conversations around that.
Well, when they have the little leagues going on, where is everyone going to park? Is it on the other side where they have the?
Yeah. So this is going to become part of the rest of Del Norte Park, and so there's the main parking lot that's off of Roland. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. At this time, we're going to close the public hearing. Thank you. Any of you have anything you want to address?
some staff questions.
We have questions for the staff.
Do you have questions for us, or?
Yes, I will direct this at, I'm not sure if this is a city attorney question or if this is a staff, general staff question. There's an SB 330 application that was submitted freezing the development fees. When was that submitted in this case?
I believe it was in 2025.
Okay. All right. And the park dedication fees, when was that first application submitted?
The first application?
Yes.
Luisa can verify this, but I believe
It was either, we weren't here at the time, so that's why we can't answer the question, Commissioner, very clearly. But it was either in December of 2024 or January of 2025.
Okay. So what fee schedule are we going off of, and are we required to, as a city, are we required to accept the SB 330 application on the freezing of fees?
The fee schedule, I believe that it was predicated on was the 2024, the one that was established in probably June of 2024. I'm sorry, July of 2024. And that information was provided to us by the previous Deputy Community Development Director. And so that was, those fees were documented, and actually what is in your conditions of approval tonight are the documented fees per unit.
It's kind of unclear because I went back through, I looked up the schedule of fees, and it looks like the schedule of fees from 2024 for single-family residences would have been $4,550 per unit and $3,247 per unit for the attached single-family or multifamily. And it seems like there's a pretty sizable difference between what's being proposed. I think it's about, let's see, I think based on the math I did, it was about a $395,000 difference based upon 2024 and what's actually in the staff report.
So what was provided to us when we arrived here was a letter that stated that the development impact fees were $2,059 for single-family units and $1,468 for attached units. I haven't done any other research on that, Commissioner, because I was taking that from the information that was handed over.
I understand. Yeah. Like I said, I was just curious about that because it wasn't something that was clear to me where these numbers came from. It seems like, we're going based off of development impact fees from December 2015 as opposed to any time in the recent past. That was the question I had. It just seems like it's a sizable amount of impact fee differential relative to current numbers or even the last two fiscal years prior to this one.
We can definitely research that and provide. I don't know what conversation the applicant had, but it should be the 2024 numbers. That's my understanding.
Okay, understood.
Can we open up public hearing again at applicant?
You wish to reopen the public hearing specifically for addressing this one issue?
Yes. Thank you.
So specifically about SB 330, and I just want to make this clear. So while SB 330 does vest your fees at time of the SB 330 application being deemed complete, there is the caveat that allows the city to increase if your fees are based on CPI increases. And I believe that West Covina has passed that ordinance. So there are certain fees that we are actually going based on the current 2026 fee schedule is what we have in our estimate right now. I want to say that the park fee is the one that is kind of weirdly codified into the municipal code for that one. And then the park fee, the art in public places is obviously done as a percentage of our development costs. But the diff fees, I want to say I don't know the number offhand that's in the COAs, but in our actual budgets, we're going off of the current fees.
So it's the 48, 45, 86 for 34 single-family residences, and then $3,458 for the 198.
So I can't speak exactly to what that totals
That's
to.
verbatim from the schedule. So,
But there's something with the building department on how it goes for for attached units. So I don't know the math immediately in my head to confirm if it's that per unit or if it's different on a per building. So I can't speak to that exactly. I can tell you that we're looking at about $384,000 in diff fees total for the single family and townhomes.
384,000.
Yes, ballpark around there.
It's lower than what's in the staff report by like $16,000.
What are you looking at in the staff report, just so the same page, so to speak?
I am looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages in.
Is there a title to the paragraph?
Development impact fees / park fees.
Oh, I see. Yeah, we need to check those numbers because keeping in mind that we've had 3 different unit counts. So I'm not sure which one that was at. So yeah, it's the 200. We were more focused on per unit. It's because the unit count kept changing. So it's
Right.
2,059 per single family unit and 1,400 per attached. So that's the numbers we were using, and then we'd multiply by whatever number it ended up to be. So, even tonight, if we had a number, we couldn't promise because what happens at council may change, and that would change the number. So that's why we were using the base number and not the full number. But I do apologize for that being in there because I don't know that we ever verified if that's the number for 282, 262, or 232.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do believe, I just want to reiterate that the city does have the CPI caveat on their fee schedule, so that, it is going to be driven more at time of building permit issuance. So that'll fluctuate depending on if and when those happen.
So did you get that answer, your questions answered? I had another question.
I'm not really too sure, sort of, I guess. It's a nebulous distinction. At some point, somebody will figure out, I'm sure.
Okay, so you made mention of that you do a survey every year or every how many months or
The Avid surveys. So those are done. They're sent to literally every single home buyer we have. So when you purchase a home, you're kind of enrolled in it, and it's like everything else. So you either ignore it or you take it. And we tend to have a very high turnout rate, from our buyers, and that's the 1 month survey and then the 1 year survey.
So the ratio of the parking spaces, you said that you are meeting the quota. Do those apply to all the 232 homes? Or are you keeping out the SFRs?
So
they already have 4 spaces.
Sure. So if you were to look at the project as a whole for 232 homes, that is like we're exceeding that 0.25. If you look at the municipal code and what the municipal code calls for, single family, it calls for 2 cars in the garage, 2 cars in the driveway. And then for attached product housing, it would be 2 cars in the garage and a 0.25 guest. So if you were to actually break apart our different uses, the single family and the townhomes, our ratio would actually go higher. It would be a 0.3, a 0.32 in that ballpark if you were just looking at the guest spaces related to the townhomes and not the single family.
Right. Because the chart that they did have up, it was, 80 plus homes from the last one. It was 153 or so. And the amount of spaces was, equal or, it wasn't a significant,
number above what, for the difference in the homes. It just seemed like it was inadequate.
I can't speak to those developments. I wasn't involved in them, but we tried to maximize parking as best as we could.
No, I mean in this project.
Yeah.
So this project seems like it has more houses and less ratio of parking spaces. But so that being said, I mean, when you call these people, do they ever complain about the parking?
No, I mean, we don't. We're very transparent with buyers on what the community is. It is, you have 2 cars in the garage. That's what you're buying. If you have 3, 4 cars, this isn't necessarily the community for you. You are given 2 spaces in your garage, and the open spaces are for guests. And our sales counselors are very transparent about those restrictions. So our buyers go in well aware of what it is and the community that they're buying into.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll close public hearing.
Real quick, I just want to get clarification from the city attorney on this. Given the fact that we provided the applicant with additional time to opine on other issues, do we need to provide the public the opportunity to speak further?
So we were just asked that we could, as with the public hearing open, if you would like to give. It is within your discretion to give the public an opportunity to speak again. It wouldn't just be for more than one person. It would be for the public to speak again. If it would be your preference to do that, you could limit that discussion to whatever new information was just presented with the applicant's rebuttal and this recent exchange.
Can we limit the time to?
You can limit this is you're granting a special privilege. You could limit the time to 1 minute to 2 minutes.
I think that everything's already been pretty much, addressed. So there would be limited items to, for questions. So let's limit it to 1 minute, please. Would anyone like to come up to address the applicant's rebuttal? Okay, Mario.
All right. This is something I brought up before. I'm just going to read it out loud. West Covina Development Impact Fees, 232 units at a rate of $1,468 per unit, $340,000, $576. This is based off a DIF schedule that was last comprehensively updated in December of 2019. In comparison, the city of Covina is $10,000 per unit. So using the Covina schedule, 232 units would be $2,320,000 in impact fees. SB 330 allows for the freezing of this at the application period, but if there is a change to the general plan or the specific plan or a zone change, that allows it to be modified. Thank you.
Thank you. Have you filled out a card? You still have to fill out a card. Right up here in the front. You've already filled one out. You can come on up, Laura.
Real quickly, very, very good point about the sidewalk. If people are going to park there, they need to have somewhere to walk. Secondly, I would encourage you, if you have not been over to the property as commissioners, to please go view it. The parking for the baseball field is already there. It's already being used. Those tennis courts are used every single night, morning till night. So that's not an option for anything with parking. I had not completely thought the parking all the way through. I love everything else about it except the parking.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Just real quick, 3 things. I thought at one of the town hall meetings, Meritage had said that they would do the improvements on the baseball field. So I think that's sort of a question there, because I thought they said they would complete the improvements. 2, the tennis courts are not part of the project, so I don't know why that was being discussed. And 3, have all of you gone and seen the site physically in person? Because I think that is a big thing that you need to do if you haven't. See the neighborhood. Thank you.
Yes, you do.
I just want to mention, last time when our district representative Gutierrez had a discussion here around the project, there were people from the Vincent project that showed up, and they were talking about how the parking is getting so terrible there that the ability to have spontaneous family gatherings is not happening for the residents there anymore. They need to plan and in advance file for a permit, get that permit for their family members to be able to park. I beg for you and for the project not to do that to our residents right now. We need to be able to have family come over and just open the doors and have dinner or something without having to have weeks of planning for that. Thank you.
Ramon, Roman? I'm sorry.
Rest of the, and it's parking. I don't know if it's going to be an issue for me, but it's kind of further out. But is there consideration for drainage? Because where I live right now, there's big area right here that absorbs a lot of the rainwater. Right. Once this is there, the drainage, as it is, it almost crests the sidewalk where I live. You know, on a when it rains hard. So is there like anything that done like where the water's going to go after we pave all this area?
Well, first of all, we were supposed to address anything that was only spoken about. So you're opening up a new question. So we would have to have the applicant come back.
Anyways, okay, so we have to stick to whatever.
Whatever was just recently discussed. So that would have been when you should have come up the first discussion. If we went, we can ask her to come back up and address that. Thank you.
Thank you. So you talk about the signal there at Roland and Sunset. If you drive from West Covina Parkway all the way to Irwindale to the 210 freeway, the lights are paced at a block's distance. The only place that isn't is right there, right outside of the exit of the freeway where the apartments are, and then on Workman, and the next one is on Puente. If you put one there, it's going to be 4 stops. The congestion to come out and make a left going north from Roland over to Sunset, the light's going to be signaled for Sunset because it's a fast-paced street as opposed to Roland, Workman, or the other streets want to come out. Also, the chart, she goes, well, we weren't involved with the other previous ones, but it's evidence of what the city was. You can't ignore that chart and saying the previous builds had this many parking spaces and this many homes. She just said, oh, well, we weren't personally involved with those, but the place that the company that was made it ethical and reasonable. And the last thing, the parking at the park is already full. Now we're going to have the Little League. That's going to bring more people. That's great. But the parking space, there's about 45 spaces right now that are available.
Thank you. Alicia Rodarte.
Hello, everyone. I'm a resident of West Covina, and I think he said the traffic for LA County, that it's not going to affect us on Workman. That's ridiculous. My street is already filled with cars, and if you're making a right towards the apartments there, you take so much time to try to make a right because of the traffic that's coming. So it takes a while. And then the space that you have between to go straight to Workman and then make a right, you can't because there's cars parked there. And then he's saying that there's going to be space for bicycles and for the traffic to move even slower because there's cars going to be parked there. There's already cars parked there from the homeowners on Sunset. So I don't know where he's from. I mean, it should have been somebody here from traffic department at this meeting, not somebody that she brought. Because we're the affected. I'm not against it. And I thank Nicholas Lewis for speaking up for the West Covina residents because he had a lot of points that maybe we didn't think about. But you can tell that he's looking out for us. And I appreciate that. Because I know it's not your job to look at things that we don't know about.
Sorry, your time.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
But yeah, so Workman, that's ridiculous.
Thank you. So, does the applicant want to come back and
address those last comments?
Are you wondering about drainage specifically, or?
I think that was one of them. But also, Orkman is a very congested street, especially with the school down, all the way, people in the mornings coming from all directions. But go ahead.
So I'll start with drainage. We didn't necessarily focus on it, but just high level. The site does, the park currently does drain onto the school property. It drains relatively northeast to southwest. So what we'll be doing is at the property line, the interface with the public park, is we'll be creating kind of concrete V ditches to capture any. We'll have weep holes in the wall so that water can pass through, because that is the natural historical flow of drainage. It'll be captured in a V-ditch kind of channel and conveyed out into the existing storm drain system. On-site drainage, we have 3 different separate infiltration basin areas, so it'll be captured on-site, diverted, go through a modular wetland system to be cleaned, and then be able to infiltrate in the ground. So that is how storm drain will be covered on site. Specifically about Workman, let Robert touch on.
Hello again. So Workman, because there's going to be an additional access right in, right out, and left in proposed on Del Norte, Workman will be less utilized by the project than the other 2 access points closer to the project.
I think they're worried. The conversation, though, is about Workman going towards Vincent to get on the freeway. So all I can say is that our scoping with traffic was included to certain extents. It included the intersection of Workman at Sunset. We didn't go beyond that. The conversation with transportation didn't have us going and looking at Workman and Vincent, or looking at, I know the one gentleman brought up about the freeway on ramps and off ramps, and that involves Caltrans and is a whole different thing. So it's kind of beyond the scope of this project. So in the specific area of the project, what we worked with the city on what needed to be analyzed, that is what we analyzed. We know, I've driven it being up here as much as I have down Workman, and it is a busy street, and you do see a lot of residents that have parked, they utilize that street parking. So it does create that bit of traffic, inherent, as kind of Robert spoke to, traffic calming, because it does force, in theory, slower speeds, but people will be, going that way if they're trying to connect on the 10 there.
And it's common traffic engineering practice to limit the study area to 50 peak hour trips. That's less than 1 vehicle a minute, which typically that's not something someone driving can observe more than 50 peak hour trips. They might see one more car while they're commuting to the freeway during that time. Again, this is common traffic engineering methodology, and it was scoped with the city, and it was agreed to upon the study area based on that.
Thank you. So, what I would suggest, everyone who came here to speak and is, irate about the parking situation, which is, already sounds bad. Right now, you're in negotiations regarding the park, the field, and I would suggest going to the next board meeting and telling them to give them funds for more parking. Something that will, take care of the situation, the parking, craziness that you have already, that will be enhanced by all these 232 homes plus a field. So that, to me, I think that the parking is an issue. And I know that you meet the quota, and you've already done so much. 50 homes, and you're probably, what more do these people want? But I think that they want parking. And I don't know if there's anything that you can do in negotiations, as if you're still in negotiations. I think that's something the school board owes these residents for what they did to them. don't know if that helps. So if you want, you should start writing letters, go over there to the school board, start talking to people over there and tell them they need to take care of this problem. They need to work with Louisa here. Cut her a break. Thank you. Okay, so now, I'm sorry, no. Now, public hearing is now closed. Do we have any more discussion with the commission? Any more open discussion?
I had one follow-up question for staff. Was this site part of the parcel list that is included in the housing element for additional higher density development? I think I know the answer, but I just want to confirm.
I believe it was not.
Good point. Is there anything at this point we can ask for? I mean, obviously, we everything has been met by the applicant. Is there anything on our end that we could ask for to help with that?
The decision is it's the Planning Commission's decision on what steps to take next. I do, if you do motion, with the modification on item QQ to regarding the CCNRs, we can certainly make that amendment if you choose to motion. So,
do we have a motion? Do we have a motion to continue?
I like to say that with this project, I think this is the third time it came across to the Planning Commission. And I am very glad that the residents has a lot of input into this project. At the same time, this particular land was sold by the school district. So we wish that was, have a discussion, the resident have discussions with the school board in terms of what they can and can't do. When they get to this point, the city basically needs to work with the developer, the school districts, and we also have, in terms of housing criteria that has to be met for the city. And I like the fact that the developer had came a few times to reduce the number from 280 plus to now down to 232. I mean, it may not seem a lot, but the housing number got reduced and it's significant because of your involvement. In terms of asking for the Little League baseball field, they are working with the city, and the fact that they are reducing the number. A lot of time it's very difficult when the state put pressures in the cities to come up with 5,000 some units by year 2029. It seems not possible, but West Covina, probably this is one of the, I want to say last large lot that we can build with a particular, good size units versus the single residential where you can get 1 or 2 units out of that lot. But despite everything, it will impact the fact that the school hasn't really open or not partially open for a long, long time. So that area was not impact in terms of traffic during the morning that you're used to in a school area. I live close by school. In fact, I live 1 block away from school, and I try to avoid the 8 o'clock and the 3 o'clock whenever they get off school. So I try to stay away for 30 minutes or so before I start going out. But I do completely understand that the school has been not fully operational for a long time, so you're used to less traffic than what it would have been if it was fully open. Taking that into consideration, this development will impact, doesn't matter whether what they will do, but it will impact the area in terms of traffic coming and going. But at least because of your involvement, the developer has tried to work with the community and the residents there. You're getting, hopefully a little bit of what you want in the neighborhood. With that said, this planning commission tonight would be a recommendations to city council. It's a recommendation that whether the city council will approve it or not, that's a completely different, that would be their decisions at sometime in the future. But we here tonight will be just a recommendations, and we may include some input in terms of what we wanted to add in terms of the project.
That was not one of the options, was it? It was to continue. I don't think it was to refer this to city council.
No, you're making a recommendation to city council, yes. Right now, my recommendation earlier is if you motion to make the recommendation, that you motion with the change to QQ regarding the parking. And we'll work on tightening that up so that garages are used solely for the parking of vehicles. We'll tighten that up with some additional text.
Okay.
We can start with the motion. I mean, I can make a motions to forward this to the city councils with additional recommendations, such as I like to see if the Little League field, when it's said and done, hopefully the developer can improve that little area instead of just leaving an area called a park. I don't know if that's, something that we can do. Also regarding parking, to see if we can increase a little bit more parking space. I'm not sure that's going to be able to work with what, the city council can improve or not. And also to see if it does improve traffic, the area, whether it's Workman or Roland, if it does increase traffic, to see if there's something. I'm not sure because it's really close to the freeway and they do want to move everyone that get out of the freeway further out. And if you put more traffic, it could create more problem. I have no idea. But if traffic can be improved because of the traffic light at, I'm not sure, I forgot with Roland or Workman, hopefully that recommendation to get into the city council to see if those 3 items can be helpful to the residents.
So I think that we are limited here to, it's above our pay grade for what if there's any more discussions and modifications that can be, any compromises with the applicant at this point. I mean, we've made suggestions, our recommendations, and we've heard you. This is your platform right now where you get to say, and we did hear you. I think Commissioner Lewis made excellent suggestion. The parking is excellent suggestion. I mean, I think everyone in the city has had new homes. I mean, I'm by West Covina High School, and not only did we already have so much traffic on that intersection on Cameron and Lark Ellen, where if my son wanted to go to school at West Covina, I said, you can walk faster than I can drive you. Okay. So you go on. So anyways, and then they built on top of that, they built the houses right there where Dove Day used to be and the church. So we feel your pain, and so that intersection is more busier than ever, but unfortunately we adjust to it, and it actually wasn't too bad. They changed the signals. They made, I believe, the 3-way lights, so it was more safe. But we adjusted. So I'm not telling you, oh, too bad. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying hopefully, I believe a lot of the things were well thought out, and because then I think they would have you guys coming back screaming. But I think they were well thought out, and like Commissioner Hang said, we do have to commend the applicant for all that they have done to try to accommodate the residents. And they've heard,
all the complaints and, at some point too, 50 homes that they removed, that's actually quite a bit of profit from their bottom line. So, they are trying to work with us. And again, you have anything right now before everything's solidified, I would definitely start complaining to the school board, make them work with them. And that's so. As far as motions, any suggestions?
I'll just say this. I think there are positives to this proposal. I think there are some substantial negatives. My gut feeling, unfortunately, though, is the parking issue and the frankly substantial size of this development in an area that doesn't really have this. Honestly, I struggle with this one because I understand we need units, but given that this is not part of the housing element, and given the fact that this is, frankly, in an area where I could not, in good conscience, myself say I would want this to be part of my neighborhood as it is. I wouldn't vote for it. So, having said that, though, something needs to be done, and ultimately, regardless of what I think or what any of my colleagues on this commission think, this is going to be a city council decision. So, from my standpoint, I think that we send this to City Council with our recommendations, with everything that I set forth, and anything that my colleagues want to add on, and saying, hey, look, we think there needs to be additional parking. We think there needs to be sidewalk considerations. We think that to the extent that we're talking about undergrounding utilities, everything under the sun that has been discussed, if they're to approve it, they should include those as additional conditions. However, I would say that we send a recommendation, and this would be my motion. My motion is to deny it. However, with the caveat that if the council is to overrule us, we're not here to make projects worse simply because we don't think that they are in conformance with the general plan. We want them to work out in a way that is as conducive as possible to our community. And so I think that that's the responsible thing, and that would be my motion. So it'd be a motion to deny the resolution. I think it's resolution number 25-6175. Excuse me, I need to read through all of this.
Five resolutions.
Five resolutions, excuse me. General Plan Amendment number 25-01, Zone Change number 25-01, Precise Plan number 25-01, Tentative Tract Map number 004618, and Tree Permit number 25-10. I would motion to deny with the caveat that if the council is to overrule us, that they take into consideration the various items that were discussed tonight. And if I just want to make sure Arturo has that information, if it's
just to recap,
there is a second.
Just to recap, the items that were brought up tonight were improvements to the field, increase in guest parking, looking to analyze a light at Roland and Sunset, the sidewalk consideration along Del Norte, and undergrounding of utilities on site. Undergrounding of utilities only on site?
Particularly along the Del Norte and Sunset corridor.
That wasn't one of the items that you mentioned.
These are the only items. Ultimately, parking is a consideration, and however the city council decides.
However it works out, right.
That's their discussion, above my pay grade.
Well, I don't know that I would deny it, but I would definitely make a motion to refer it to City Council.
I'm sorry, we're not denying a project. Tonight's vote is about recommendations to the City Council. So his motion is to not move it to City Council?
Is to not recommend approval to the
To City Council. So basically his motion is to not recommend to move to City Council.
No, that's
recommend that
incorrect.
the city council approve.
Correct.
He's denying it here, so it'll be approved with.
I'm recommending that the city council deny. And so we, as a body, would make, as we do in any circumstance where we recommend denial, that goes to the city council when it comes to like a precise plan or something like that, which is what's inclusive in here.
I mean, it's just the same if we just, send this to City Council because, us denying it's we're not able to do that anyways. So this would be something that we have recommendations on that would need to further negotiation and discussion with the City Council, with the applicant. And that's not at our level.
See, so the city council is the final approving body for a project like this. Your choices are one of two. It's either we do not recommend approval. That is what Commissioner Lewis has moved. It has not been seconded yet, but that's what he has moved. Your other choice is we do recommend approval.
It's kind of tough decisions when the school has the land. We can't leave it vacant. It's difficult to.
We currently have pending a motion not recommending approval. Pending. It has not been seconded.
Well, in the past, we've had an option to refer it to City Council with the recommendations, not just denying it.
I can make a motions to move it to City Councils with the recommendations that regarding the parking.
Which is what I said.
Okay, so I guess if she motioned that, I'll second it. So now we have a motion and a second.
Yes.
We have a motion and a second to
move it to City Council for approval to City Council
with no recommendation.
With recommendations of
no recommendation.
With recommendations
recommendations that we made regarding the parking,
the field, the sidewalk, the parking. What else? The list that.
Okay, so are you suggesting a recommendation to approve the project subject to the conditions relating to the sidewalk addition, the correction to the CC&Rs, the Little League field improvements, an increase in parking, the workman traffic issues, and the undergrounding utilities? That would you would have I correctly characterized your motion and second?
Yes.
That would be we would only recommend approval with those conditions in place.
Yes.
Okay. And then we still have Commissioner Lewis has a motion to recommend denying the project. Yes. To recommend it to the council that they deny the project. The council.
We don't have a stance to deny it because they've already met all the requirements. We do not have that luxury.
We're not the approving.
Yes. So that would have been the school board when they first started.
To the City Council.
Well, at this time, Commissioner Lewis's motion dies for lack of a second.
Her motion.
So we have a motion.
Yes.
We have a motion and a seconded motion pending for recommending to the City Council approval of the project subject to. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you. Addition of a sidewalk. The correction to the CC&Rs regarding vehicular parking in garages, fairly minor. Little League field improvements. parking increase, whether it's through some sort of work with the school district or otherwise. Some sort of further resolution of workman traffic flow issues. And undergrounding of utilities in an area that's specified. I didn't write it down. Did I miss anything?
Oh, I think
She said parking.
yeah, she did add the parking. And then you have a second motion for me. I second that motion.
I'm in favor.
Yes, we have a motion and we have a second.
Okay.
That motion.
Okay, so we call it to vote?
Yes, roll call.
Commissioner Eng?
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes?
Yes.
Commissioner Castellanos absent. Vice Chair Lewis?
No.
Chair Becerra?
Yes. Okay, so this decision will be final unless written request for an appeal. So this is going to City Council anyway, so we'll leave it there. All right, thank you, everyone.
So this motion for tonight is being recommended to City Council, and at the time, City Council will be voting on this project. When, I'm sorry.
We don't know yet.
We don't have
We
this.
don't have that date set yet. But we anticipate sometime in June. Of course, it'll be, yes.
It's usually on the website.
The city website, it's on the city website.
Ah.
Correct? It's on the city website?
Okay, so,
Give everyone a few minutes.
I'm sorry?
We'll give everyone a few minutes to,
Can we take a 5-minute recess?
absolutely. We'll do a 10-minute break if that works.
Oh, okay.
Right. Planning Commission meeting back in session. Okay, now we are reviewing Code Amendment number 26-01. Arturo, who will present the staff report?
I will tonight.
PowerPoint?
We'll get a PowerPoint going up real fast. All right, tonight we have a code amendment, number 2601, for an amendment to Chapter 26 of the West Covina Municipal Code to establish objective and reasonable development standards for supportive housing and transitional housing, amend the land use regulation to limit hotel and motel conversions to the regional mixed use or RMU zone, and an amendment to procedures for processing planning applications, including the establishment of submittal deadlines. So a little bit of background. The development code was approved in February 2024, and the code, in essence, merged both the subdivision code and the zoning code into a singular development code. And so this development code periodically receives updates to make sure it's in compliance with the general plan policies, the continued effectiveness of local land use regulations, and California housing laws that require our local jurisdictions require their compliance. Currently, the development code provisions addressing supportive and transitional housing does not identify hotel and motel conversions within land use tables. Also, the development code lacks clear language that states the amount of time inactive planning applications may remain open, which can result in a backlog of abandoned applications. Staff has identified the need to amend the development code to clarify regulations applicable to supportive and transitional housing and establish objective development standards consistent with state housing law, refine land use regulations related to hotel and motel conversions to ensure compatibility with the city's land use framework, and establish clear, consistent procedures governing planning application processing, including application requirements, completeness determination, and resubmittal timelines. So the text amendment tonight will establish some development standards for supportive and transitional housing, Section 26133. These development standards will include a requirement that these types of uses provide operational management plans, that they supply an annual reporting to the city, and the text will allow the director to create an application and submittal requirements, which can be updated from time to time. Additionally, the land use table does not include a hotel-motel conversion land use. So we're adding one so that hotel-motel conversions are limited to only regional mixed-use zones. Next slide. We're also amending the planning application sections 26182 for the review and evaluation of planning applications. This will authorize the director to establish a list of applications for planning, the creation of a submittal checklist for those applications, and a list of required supplemental documentation to help when analyzing for CEQA. The applications will also have a 180-day deadline for resubmittals or incomplete applications. When we receive applications, we begin our analysis, and we've noticed that we return to the applicant a deemed incomplete or a correction letter. And a lot of the times, there's a portion of times where those applicants don't return revised plans correcting those requests, and so they stay in our folders. So we are now creating a deadline so that we can deem these applications after 180 days, deem those applications withdrawn. We will allow for one 90-day extension, provided the applicant submits their request in a timely manner. And those lapsed applications will be considered withdrawn, as I mentioned, and if they want to come back with that same project, it'll be considered a new application. I think we jumped one on the findings, yeah. So the text amendment that's being proposed does maintain internal consistency with the goals, policies, and strategies of the general plan. It will not create inconsistencies within the development code, also known as Chapter 26 of the Municipal Code. The proposed amendment will not be detrimental to the public interest, health, safety, convenience, or welfare of the city. The amendments consist solely of text amendments to the Development Code and would not directly result in any physical change to the environment. The text amendments are also consistent with the general plan policies P2.1, which is to maintain and enhance the city's current tax base, policy P2.6, which is to create a diverse housing option, and policy P3.3, which states new growth will compete, enhance, and reinforce the form and character of the unique West Covina neighborhoods, district, and corridors. Next, please. The text amendment is exempt from CEQA pursuant to Section 15061B3 because it can be seen with certainty that there is no possibility that the ordinance may have a significant effect on the environment. The ordinance consists solely of text amendments to the Development Code and does not authorize or approve any specific development project. And the last slide, staff recommends that the Planning Commission conduct a duly noticed public hearing to receive public testimony on Code Amendment number 26-01, adopt the CEQA exemption, and adopt resolution number 26-6181, recommending that the City Council approve Code Amendment number 26-01. This completes staff's report, and we're available for any questions you may have.
Okay, so I guess we will open public hearing. Am I on the wrong page? No. Do we have an applicant?
No.
No applicant.
Just for discussion.
That's what I thought, because it says on here.
I think we should have Arturo go to the podium right now. What do you think?
There you go. There you go. Come on.
Now, we are going to have a few more amendments in the upcoming months.
Playing tricks on me here.
So these are amendments being brought on through our department to try to tighten up the development code. So this is one of a few that'll come. You'll see another one in the next couple of months, specifically an update to the ADU ordinance, because right now HCD has told us we're not in compliance with the state requirement. So we're trying to get in line with them. So we've got a draft that they need to review, give us the green light, and then we'll bring that to you in the near future, along with a couple of other land use table cleanups.
Well, any questions for staff?
I guess my question is regarding the amendments for this particular transitions, taking hotels and converting it, transition into the, how do you word it?
Hotel.
Supportive housing, use. Transitional housing. Well, because the last time it was a year or so ago, there was a transitional. What's wrong with that? I thought it was in the code. It wasn't.
Just to clarify, we came across that in looking at the table. We came across hotel conversions, whether they're converted to anything, any kind of conversions, was not addressed at all. So we had like condo conversions in there. Hotel conversions wasn't mentioned. Could be hotel conversions from hotel to like small office or, office collective. But it just wasn't addressed by the table at all.
So this one is just for a particular hotel, and will it come to the planning commission or city councils whenever there's a conversion, or is this a staff level?
Depending on what that conversion is to. Oh, you were going to say?
Yeah, it would depend on what the project was and what the conversion is too. It was just a use that wasn't even in the table at all.
Is it a use that the city is required to allow under CUP, or is it something that can? My question is it something that we're required?
I am not aware of any state laws specifically addressing hotel conversions or motel conversions.
Okay. I was just curious about that.
Wait, so the state law does not address it. Why are we addressing it?
Well, we address condo conversions.
I guess my take is...
It's just a conversion of uses.
So every time they have a conversion, if they fit a certain criteria, does the community have a say in that conversion or no?
Not if we already pre-approve it, I think, right?
Right. Well, right now, the conversions would be allowed only in an RMU. And again, it just depends on what they're going to be converting it to. So this, in essence, is saying conversions in NMUs and SMUs wouldn't be allowed. So we're trying to retain the hotel use as best as possible.
And hotels are special because they generate TOT, which is an important revenue resource for the city to preserve.
But currently, you're saying in our code, it's not allowed for transitional housing use?
We do allow that.
We do allow it.
We do allow that. Transitional supportive housing is allowed in zones that allow for residential.
Okay, so if it's allowed then why are we having this citywide?
It wasn't in the table.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't in the table, so we need to put it on the table. And it was allowed already, but it's not on the table.
It's not on the table.
Where's the table?
The table is...
Table's on page 12. It's a very tiny, tiny table. So with regard to the excuse me, with regard to the application aspect of things, I just want to make sure I understand. Is this an over-the-counter application? Is this like an AUP scenario, or?
So the AUP no longer exists. That's been replaced with the admin permit.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm dating myself.
No, it's okay.
What I mean is this an over-the-counter administrative permit that's done via application, or is this something that we can that we can place under the conditional use permit purview?
Now we're talking about transitional supportive housing.
Yes.
Those are they're not discretionary permits.
Okay. So if we didn't have one, would they exist?
If we didn't have what?
If we didn't have an application, would they exist?
They can exist without the application. The application is enabling the city to create a list of criteria, development standards per se, that they need to abide by. So, for example, an annual audit that needs to be part of this. But based on state law, with or without the application, they could exist.
Okay. All right, I understand.
So if we approve it, it doesn't come to us anymore. It's automatic.
It's automatic regardless.
Oh, regardless if we say yes or no?
Yes. Right now, we're trying to establish, again, a set of criteria to hold, if a use does come in the future, we're trying to create a list of criteria that they should abide by. We want to put this out there so if anyone does bring a project to us, they're fully aware of the laundry list of items that are being required as part of the application.
So I guess I'm trying to understand will this be, even though with this use, will it be a conditional use, or it's a use by rights for the transitional homes with this code, with this amendment?
This amendment doesn't change the use by right in residential zones for transitional supportive housing.
So it's still a conditional use?
It's not a conditional use.
It's not a conditional use?
No. Transitional supportive housing is not a conditional use.
They have to meet the criteria, but they don't get to be denied.
But the criteria doesn't exist yet. So this amendment will create that criteria. So if you look at, it's adding to the transitional supportive housing section, subsections E through J, I believe. And those subsections it includes a list of development standards that are required and the creation of a application for any interested parties. And through that application, which will be able to be amended from time to time based on the director at the time, we'll ask for certain documents to make sure that these uses are valid, they're on the up and up, that, for example, that they have site control, full site control, for any applicants in the future.
So basically, you already have it. There's just no criteria.
Correct.
Why don't you just say that in the beginning?
I guess I'm a little confused regarding this particular amendment here, is that if, let's say, I'm not sure how many motel hotels that we have here. Let's say we have a handful of 10, 20.
Approximately 9, I believe.
Okay, so 9 of them. If they all want to do transitional housing, can they come to the city, apply for it, and then if everything fit, then they would say, okay?
Hotel-motel conversions are a little different, and that's what this code is trying to address. But if somebody came in, let's say it wasn't a hotel, and they wanted to build transitional supportive housing in a site that was zoned residential, they could. And this criteria hasn't been established, so there really wouldn't be much for us to hold them up to. So this criteria will now,
Okay. So I guess I like to see what other cities is doing since we're doing this. I'm not quite sure for transitional housing regarding hotel in particular, like comparably in this Southern California. What are other cities doing regarding?
I did do an analysis of some of the surrounding cities. A lot of the surrounding cities don't say much on supportive transitional housing. Some cities do have these types of criteria. So, for example, I think Compton was one city, La Mirada was another city. We try to utilize a lot of those development standards that they had in creating this list. And some cities don't say much about it, and so transitional supportive housing use can come in, and if those development standards are in place, then they're in essence permitted by right, which they are here as well. But again, we're just creating standards that we want them to comply with prior to coming in.
Why can't we just change them to conditional use permit? Period.
We're not allowed to.
Backwards?
We're not allowed to by state law.
I don't know. Maybe my questioning kind of muddied the waters, but they're kind of apples and oranges. One, so the application administrative permit deals solely with residential zoning applications. The motel and hotel conversion aspect, my understanding, that would be something that would be part of the CUP process, correct?
Currently,
as part of this reform.
Yeah, not necessarily. Hotel motel conversions right now aren't really called out in the land use table. That's why we're bringing this to you today, so that we can get a little control over that and try to limit it to the RMU zones. But transitional supportive housing, if it's in an area zoned for residential, there's very limited control.
Right. So, sorry, I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. So the hotel motel conversions aspect of things, I understood to be sort of part of a completely different section, right? And so we're talking about if somebody wants to change a hotel or motel to something other than a hotel or motel, and this doesn't necessarily have to do with supportive or transitional housing permits. Like this, it's completely separate and apart. My question is, by adding this to the table, does this make it part of the conditional use permit process if there is a conversion, or are there things that are already in place as a matter of right, like, for example, turning a motel or a hotel into, I don't know, affordable housing or something like that? Is where that would be something conceivably that would be state law would supersede whatever we say on that issue. Is it basically we're trying to have control around the things that we can have control around? Is that
right?
Is that a good way of explaining it?
Yes.
Okay. I understand. I'm with you.
But also at the same time, it said West Covina municipal codes to establish objective and reasonable development standard for supportive housing and transitional housing. You had mentioned earlier that it's not subject to just supportive housing and transitional housing. But this amendment that we're talking about right now, that's what we're doing.
There's three parts to the amendment. There's the transitional supportive housing, there's the conversion of hotel motels, and then there's the application deadlines. So we're addressing three different sections within the zoning code.
Yeah, this is, I would say, the best way to explain this is like this is sort of a grab bag amendment where we see a whole bunch of issues that need to be addressed in our development code, and we're trying to wholesale kind of give an omnibus correction or change, for lack of a better way of putting it.
And as I mentioned, you will see another one in probably the next 2 or 3 months dealing with ADUs. And at that point, we'll also have some other sections that we want to clean up. We don't want to come with these corrections, every month or every 2 months. We want to try to spread them out and try to get as many as we can per code amendment. Clean up as much as we can each time we bring it to you.
Are we done with the public hearing at this point?
I believe so, right?
I think we moved to discussion already.
Okay.
Okay, close public hearing. Move to more discussion.
It's so new. I'm not particularly grasping this particular amendment, and I like to see, or at least continue, or do some research on what other cities are doing for this particular citywide, the code amendments. I like to see that before we make any. I guess this would be also a recommendation to the city council. Is that correct?
Correct.
So.
Be a list of the criteria.
Well,
Maybe a list of the criteria that would be required.
My question is, the recommendation is conducting a duly noticed public hearing to receive public testimony on this. Is that at the city council level, or is that?
It's here.
It's here.
Is that here? Okay.
It's here. So if we were to continue.
Well, I think if we're, so basically this would be first reading, right? For lack of a better way of putting it.
No, your recommendation would then move to city council, and at city council they would, they would take the same report, your recommendation to approve, and then have a first and second reading.
Okay.
But because I don't quite understand this whole amendments, I like to continue this. If I can make a motion to continue this, and perhaps do some research and see what other cities are doing regarding the.
Well, what he's saying is it's already in effect. There's no criteria
yet. That's why we're coming up with criteria, and we're making recommendation to city council. If this fits everything that we need or wants for the future development, then yes, we just move it on to city council, and then that would be the recommendations. But because
you want to decide what the criteria is that what it is?
Yes, or look at what other cities are doing to understand fully what are we approving or amending for the city.
It's still going to go to city council, regardless.
Yes, but with the wording that we wanted for the code.
Okay.
So other cities were researched in doing this, and as I mentioned, some of the cities, every city has to allow this again, there's 3 portions to this. Is your concern the transitional supportive housing, the conversion, or the deadline on applications?
The transitional housing, the supportive housing, the conversion. I like to understand all that. What else can they do with the hotel, motel, that particular, and see what other cities are doing.
Okay.
And then hopefully to get the publics to more time, and myself more time, to understand this code amendment. Ultimately it's affecting citywide.
Yes.
And even though we have 9 hotel motel, potentially if there are lots, they can build more hotel motel, and that also applies to the new one as well. Correct.
Yes.
I'll make a motion that the Planning Commission recommend that City Council conduct a duly noticed public hearing to receive public testimony on Code Amendment number 26-01, adopt the CEQA exemption, and adopt Resolution number 26-618, recommending that the City Council approve Code Amendment number 26-01 with the amendment to the resolution as it pertains to, give me 1 second, in Exhibit A, under Section 7, include language that indicates that to the greatest extent that the law so provides, that any hotel and motel conversions within the regional mixed-use zones shall be allowed only by conditional use permit.
Is that legal?
Yes, he can make a motion for that. But I like to make a motion to continue this and have the conduct the study here at the Planning Commission level, and that's what we do.
But that's just what I asked before. So what he said is exactly what I said, right, regarding conditional use permit. Correct? But
no,
he put it in another way.
He's just moving this body, conducting the study here to City Council, have them doing the.
We have a recommendation to approve the resolution, but instead of making is it RMU zone that we would have prohibited, you would rather have CUP instead of prohibited?
RMU is allowed. It is allowed, but.
Oh, you want to change it to CUP? To CUP. Okay.
Allowed subject to approval by conditional use permit.
You would like that table changed to a CUP?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Because then it would come to us.
And then we have another motion. Neither motion's been seconded yet.
So
why? We have another motion to continue.
I second motion, Commissioner Lewis.
To change it to the CUP.
Because then it comes before us.
To change
the table.
Because right now, here X means allowed. So the X would change to a CUP for hotel and motel conversions. So that would, in effect, bring it back to you guys. Now, again, that's a hotel motel conversion really to anything.
Right.
As council said, it could be to offices. It could be to whatever, condos, apartments. Yeah.
And again, it is obviously subject to the severability clause, which I'm keenly aware of, to the extent that the state of California has abrogated, or excuse me, not abrogated, but taken away our ability to have any local control. Well, they got the final say.
We have a motion. We have a second. The motion to continue has died for lack of a second.
Okay.
Commissioner Yang?
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes?
Yes.
Commissioner Castellanos absent. Vice Chair Lewis?
Aye.
Chair Becerra?
Yes. Okay, this will be final as written request for an appeal is presented to City Council, but I think that's wrong too. So this is right in my script. Tonight we have one non-hearing item, fiscal year 26-27 capital improvement program finding of conformance with general plan. Arturo, who will present the staff report, please?
The staff report will be presented by our CIP project manager, Roberto.
Good evening, Commissioners. Today, bring before you the 2026-2027 capital program. So a little background on this. So Government Code Section 65401 requires that the Planning Commission annually review the list of proposed projects at the City CIP and the City CIP and verify their conformance with the general plan. Subsequent to the Planning Commission adoption of the resolution for the CIP's general plan conformance, the City Council will then adopt the proposed CIP budget. So the goal of all CIPs are to enhance the quality of life in the community, to maintain the city's infrastructure, and to improve traffic systems within the city. For fiscal year 26-27, there are 53 existing carryover CIP projects that were determined to be in conformance with the general plan in previous years. So in December, I brought this before you guys. The CIP represents the city's funding priorities for completing capital improvements necessary to implement the general plan. The Planning Commission's role is to make a finding that the CIP for fiscal year 26-27 is consistent with the city's general plan, not to consider the merits of each CIP project. So staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve the proposed CIP program, finding it consistent with the general plan. That's it for me, and I'm here for any questions you may have.
I have a quick question. What is I guess item C21023, video detection citywide, enhanced city image and effectiveness.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Lewis, what project number is that?
It is C21023.
023. So that's something that's been for years now. The city's trying to put video footage around the city and our park system just to enhance safety. This is something that PD would oversee, just to make sure that our city is generally more safe.
Are we talking about the flock system?
No, that's something different.
That's something separate? Okay. All right. And then I had a couple of other questions. Give me 1 second. The C25015, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. The street sweeping signs and equipment, it's on page 5 of 6. What does that entail?
So I'm assuming this is the street sweeping project. So it's phase 2 of our street sweeping. So with phase 1, this project was put out very quickly. With that, there was some oversight. So with phase 2, we are going to clean that up. We're going to spend more time creating the scope of work. So that means rectifying or fixing certain signs that are currently out. That's repositioning, that's removing. I know we had concerns about signs that were being posted on the wooden posts, Edison posts. That's something that the contractor was not supposed to do. There was 2 of us managing this project with over 5,000 signs. It was hard to pinpoint every single sign. So with phase 2, that's exactly what we're doing, is spending more time finding mistakes. We partnered with a public safety. That way we know, hey, what signs need to be addressed. So that's what phase 2 consists of. So we're not replacing signs. We're moving forward with the current rollout. It's just modifying certain signs that are out there and need to be corrected.
So we're not removing any signs?
No.
Then this is a terrible idea. I will not say that this is a terrible thing for the city's image. Mm-hmm. It looks like garbage, and we need to correct it.
Yeah. With that, I know we had concerns, and so we followed Caltrans standards. We followed the city of Palmdale standards, because currently the city doesn't have any standards as far as placement of signs. So we did follow those standards, and that's something that I can't.
Yeah, come talk to me after the meeting. I'll tell you the vehicle code standard and how you don't need to do the kind of insanity that was done. But neither here nor there. I will give you the exact vehicle code on the issue, and hopefully at some point in time we can rectify the mess that was created by irresponsible contracting and lack of oversight on this. It's a blight. It's disgusting.
Maybe if you speak with them and when they come around the second times to fix it, maybe that can be taken care of. Commissioner Lewis?
Yeah,
that's something that we plan on doing. We're not moving forward with the same contractor. It's something that we're going to go out to bid. It's obviously going to be hopefully a new contractor. As mentioned, we are spending a lot more time putting effort, perfecting this phase 2 of project.
I don't know how you can do that by not removing signs. I don't know how that's possible. So with that, I will move to find that the capital improvement finding of, I will move that the subject fiscal year 2026-27 capital improvement program is in conformance, with the exception of items number C25015 and C26012.
.015 and 012? Correct. I don't see drainage in here. West Covina drainage, I don't see any drainage. So they're not planning to do any drainage work if it's not on this list?
Like stormwater?
Yes.
So we do have some projects, for example, the trash capture device. That is for stormwater. As far
Which one
as
is that? Which section would that budgeted for?
1 second. So on this sheet here, it's page 2. On the second sheet, and it is
Page 2, back on page 2. Okay.
2 of 6. And if you go down maybe halfway, there's the catch basin cleaning. So that's to address stormwater.
It's C22
22006.
006.
So that's a stormwater project that we have using Measure W funds. But as far as drainage issues, we do have some street rehab projects that will address storm runoff water. Is there anything in particular, Commissioner Heng, that you'd like to see?
Catch basin, is there in a particular location?
It's citywide.
It's citywide, 31,000?
Yeah, so it's citywide within our city. I forget how many we have that belong to the county. That we're also going to be addressing those.
Because there's one particular area off on Virginia Lane, the catch basin with it may not be in here. There's a big metal pipe that's crumbling on the street. So I'm not sure how.
That I'm not aware of, but it's something that I can maybe tomorrow go out there and see, and in one of our projects maybe incorporate looking it over or addressing that issue.
How does this list get to be? I guess you guys created it.
Yeah, so honestly, CIP, it's a topic of discussion. So, for example, Neil can bring something up to me, and if it's CIP related, we discuss it, we plan it, and then we'll put it on the list. That's how these projects come about. They come from the residents or internal staff.
Got it. Thank you.
Unless Neil takes it off.
Just a quick question. They're removing communication towers to enhance the city image?
I think that's a cell tower. Right? We've been in discussion cell towers. The communication towers. The cell tower that we've been in communication. Where's that on here?
That was C22018.
C22018.
There's a heart monitor.
No.
See.
So 22018.
Uh-huh.
So I know that's currently in planning right now. That one, I'm going to have to get back to you. I don't know exactly what that is. I know it's in discussion with Matt and with city manager staff.
But there's no budget there. That means they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
There's no budget, right?
Yeah, some of these we don't have budget yet. They're just in communication, so we haven't went into the planning phase. Right now, it's in discussion to see how much we can sell it for, things of that sort. And so those steps need to be taken before it becomes a project.
So I see it. There's for the residential street rehab. So are we going to see a lot cleaner streets, and maybe the lawn will be watered at the courthouse? The worst lawn ever. Are we in a drought?
So with the
Sprinklers are broken.
So with the residential street rehab, that's something that we do annually. So it's done every year, and we address different parts of the city each year. So it's just depending on the street, we either grind and cap, so it's a complete gut, and or we do something just to enhance the look of the street. Sometimes that includes.
And that's just once a year? I mean, wouldn't it be?
It's once a year. Because the longevity of the streets after refurbishing them are anywhere from 7 to 14 years.
So you're talking like about potholes and things like that?
Yeah.
So resident, if they have a really bad street or really bad things that they needs to be fixed, they can call in and get to be in this list?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This one with the traffic safety, It's a traffic safety project that we have also yearly, where residents are able to call in, they're able to send emails, they're able to let us know via GoGov their complaints, wants, needs, and that's something that we address every single year, and we try to incorporate into our projects.
What about the off-ramp on Azusa going westbound? That is the dirtiest off-ramp. Does it ever get cleaned?
So that is Caltrans jurisdiction.
I understand.
I know I think we had a meeting on it today, right, Neil? Regarding
Yes, that's
the
correct.
tenant
Yeah, we are actively working with Caltrans to address those issues
That
that
is a
are.
big issue, and it's been like that for a long time. Like, welcome to West Covina. Dirtiest city east of Los Angeles. Well, I'm just kidding, but you know what I mean. It looks terrible.
I know. I think that is Tony Wu's concern, and we're doing everything we can to fix that ASAP with Caltrans.
Okay, we'll look forward to seeing it spick and span.
I don't know why we just don't do it. What are they going to do? Anyway.
Somebody over there needs a good talking to. They're not doing their job. Are they getting paid for that? Because, that needs to be addressed. It looks bad.
Yeah. They do have a service request portal similar to our portal. So that's something that they recommended residents can do. Through Caltrans, it's a service request portal through Caltrans, and we can definitely share that link with you guys.
I think that's something the city should be calling them on, not residents.
Yes, we are, but that's something that the public can also address as they see it.
So if the more residents keep nagging them about it, the more possibly they address that particular area?
Yes, so that service request portal is intended for the public. So anytime they have pictures,
Can we get that portal on the website to the residents?
Absolutely. We will work on adding that to our website so that people can click on that link and make their necessary queries to Caltrans.
Wonderful. Awesome. Okay. Is that it? Are we motioning? Did we already motion?
Have a motion. Did you have a second? The motion.
What's the motion? Oh.
So the motion was, Commissioner Lewis, correct me if I'm wrong, the motion was to accept the recommendation as being in conformity with the general plan, with the exception of a handful of items dealing with street sweeping signage.
Yes, item number C25015 and C26012.
That was the motion.
So what do you want to do with the 012 and 015?
They want to add more blight. That's what they want to do.
You want to add what?
They want to add more blight, Commissioner Hang.
Well,
I'm against that, and that's why I'm finding that's
the
not.
question is there a consistency with the general plan?
It's completely inconsistent.
Well, I'm not sure if that budget, if we see that it's a problem, I don't necessarily see that they're going to add more light to the street.
I don't see how placing a whole bunch of gratuitous signage adds to the enhancement of the quality of life in the community.
But are we adding more sign, or are we going back to fix some of the issues that is? I thought it was done already.
Yeah, no, for clarification, we're not adding any more signs. If anything, we're going to take away some signs. That it's not going to be.
That's not what you said.
A lot. It's not. We're not adding. We're not. What we're going to do is fix the signs that need to be that need attention. For example, if we go in, I know some posts or some signs were placed directly in front of homes. What we're going to do is reposition that where it's now the property line between both homes. So in that sense, we are going to be modifying, revising signs, but we're not adding additional.
Fix the signs does not mean remove the signs.
Posted those signs is just ridiculous. I get it. You don't have to have a degree to post those signs, but there's like a tree there or something. They post them right in front of some of those houses. It looks really bad.
I agree with you 100%. Some of the challenges that we face with the contractor is, one, they didn't speak English. So that was a challenge itself. I spoke to the CEO of the company. I tried to do everything we can. I got city attorney involved. It was very challenging. So with phase 2, we are spending a lot more time coming up with the scope of work where we're taking into consideration a lot of resident complaints and trying to address it the best we can with phase 2.
So my feeling is that if there is a little budgets to not adding more sign or work with the existing signs that we have is better than removing them and not having a budget to make some of the corrections that's already in existence. That's just my.
They don't have to be removed and replanted.
At least there is a budget for that.
Then I will amend my motion to state that those items need to be specified that they are pertaining to removal of excess signage and blight caused by said signage.
Or relocation, removal or relocation, right?
But largely removal, with an emphasis added on removal.
We already paid for that Lark Allen house on the park, Cameron Park, to be demoed, and it's already demoed and already cleaned up. That why are we paying for it again?
I'm sorry, what project?
The house, the Lark Allen house at Cameron Park. Is that the same house we're talking about here?
Yep.
So why are we got a budget for demo again?
What number is that?
Yeah, what project number?
21028.
21028.
Is that foundation? I think it's foundation.
I believe you're talking about 25014. Is that the one you're talking about? Lark Allen House?
21028.
21028.
Isn't that what I just said?
Yes. It's too late.
To design the demolition.
That one, all transparency, I think it's a project that's been rolled over the years. And it's something that I'm going to have to address with the finance director. She gave me this list because certain projects are rolled over. Sometimes they're not caught. So let me look into that. And
While you're at it, let's add another one. Sorry.
Let me look into it. I'll give an update to Art.
Thank you.
I'll amend my motion to go with that. To include Commissioner Hang's suggestion.
So on the first page, which is the second item, C18040 and C1, same number, C18040, the same number, but line items, which is the signal light off on Cameron Barranca. I thought it was done, but why are we budgeting money for that? I'm not sure. It might be a rollover because.
Do it again. You better have her go through this list.
Yeah, I think, so we currently had a SIP Cycle 10 project, and I think we excluded this intersection, and I think our traffic team is currently looking into this intersection.
There is a traffic light.
But sometimes they do like left pocket turns. There's modifications that they do with this traffic
That's
signal.
why I
And I think this is it. This is what it is. Let me confirm with our traffic division.
We need to request the last list so we can compare them and see why are we still paying or duplicating things, or is this going to, I'm a little concerned here.
So, for example, like this project here that has the same project number twice, it's different funding sources.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's the reason why there's like, for example, the residential, the Azusa Avenue Street Rehab, it's on here 4 times. It's different funding sources. So not necessarily that we're duplicating projects. It's more so there's multiple because of funding sources, or the project has been rolled over from previous years.
I see that. I
We're
see
never,
the funding sources.
We're never worked on
We're
it.
just concerned about stuff that's already been done and it's still on here.
But again, I don't really know if that particular intersection is done or not done. I'm just curious. That's why we ask.
Since my time here, I know we've been in, it's something that's traffic team is discussing. I know we're trying to figure out the left turn pockets. It met warrant for left turn, so it's something that I know they're looking into.
I know we paid quite a bit for that Lark Allen house, and I like that house. I know which one it was. It's down the street from me. So
okay.
I was surprised at how much we had to pay to demo that and clean up. So I'm just concerned why it's still on there.
It's on here. Okay. And that's something I'll look into. I'll have an email sent to Art tomorrow. That way we can give you guys an update.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, we need to make a motion.
And remember, the focus here is for general plan consistency.
Well, we didn't want to duplicate anything.
I believe we do have a motion from Commissioner Lewis.
And I included Commissioner Hang's 2 items, I believe.
Which is
The duplicate
drainage.
Drainage, Virginia, I believe, right?
And the traffic light on
The duplicate item concern that you had on Barranca and Cameron, the light.
Traffic signal.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, it's C18040.
Right, and I think the other one was C21208.
Sounds right.
So yours is C21028. That's the Lark Allen House. That you wanted to update on.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other one is C22006. C22006. I guess I can talk with you after.
That's the catch basin.
Is there a second?
Oh, I'll second that.
A second.
Okay.
Commissioner Eng?
Call roll.
Commissioner Eng?
Aye.
Commissioner Reyes?
Aye.
Commissioner Castellanos absent. Vice Chair Lewis?
Aye.
Chair Becerra?
Aye.
Motion has passed with the exception of those 5 items I have listed here.
Okay, so on
you.
to commission reports, comments, miscellaneous items. Does anyone have anything to report or offer comments on? No. Okay, so community development director's report. Arturo, do you have any items to report?
Yeah, I've got some events coming up I wanted to share with you, or some city has some events coming up. On May 2nd, Saturday, city will be giving away free compost from 8 to 12 at West Covina City Yard, 825 South Sunset Avenue. Suburban Water will present a landscaping workshop on Saturday, May 9th, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Cortez Park Community and Senior Center, 2501 East Cortez Street. On Monday, May 25th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be a Memorial Day celebration with a luncheon at the West Covina Civic Center, 1444 West Garvey Avenue South. And on Saturday, May 30th, the city will have its first electric boba festival and night market from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the West Covina Civic Center, 1444 West Garvey Avenue South. Also, I wanted to share with the Planning Commission that this is going to be Maria Rivas' last meeting with us. She's accepted a position at a different city. We unfortunately only had her for a couple of months. I wish it would have been longer. She's been a great asset to the department, and she will be very much missed.
Yes.
Also, we didn't get to do this last time, but I wanted to give Commissioner Reyes a few minutes to tell us about himself. I wanted to welcome him to the commission, and if he can maybe share a little bit about himself, his background, anything he'd be willing to share with us.
Good evening. My name is Richard Reyes. I'm a small business owner here in West Covina. For over 20 years, I've worked in real estate, helping families and property owners make decisions that directly impact their financial future. That experience has given me practical, real-world understanding of how planning decisions, housing development, and infrastructure shape property values, neighborhoods, and long-term direction of our city. I believe West Covina deserves leadership that is transparent, accountable, and consistent. Decisions should be made openly, communicated clearly, and grounded in respect for the people who live, work, and invest here. My approach is straightforward, direct, be fair, and ask the right questions and make decisions that stand the test of time. If I may, I wanted to maybe adjourn the meeting. Are we adjourning now, or
No.
okay? But I do want to recognize Dave Stewart when possible.
Okay, I was going to recognize someone too, so we can do it together.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, but first we're not done. So Arturo, are there any city council actions reports?
None.
No?
No.
Okay. So having no further business, so I'll do mine first and you can do yours? Okay. So I'd like to adjourn this meeting in honor of Frances Griffith, a longtime resident of West Covina, mother of a good friend, Rose Chadwick, who opened her eyes in heaven Sunday evening. And just want to say, rest in peace, sweet Frances.
Thank you. Before we adjourn this evening, we do so in honor of the memory of Dave Stewart, a dedicated public servant and value member of West Covina community. Mr. Stewart gave generously of his time and talents in service to our city, contributing thoughtful leadership and civic commitment across multiple roles. He served as planning commissioner from 2011 to 2013, helping guide important decisions that shaped the growth and development of West Covina. He later continued his service as a community and senior service commissioner in 2016 and 2017, and again in 2019, supporting programs and policies that enrich the lives and residents across generations. His willingness to step forward, to engage, and to serve reflects the very best of community spirit. On behalf of myself, I'd like to recognize him for his service and gratitude and his contributions.
I completely agree. Dave was one of a kind and truly a gentleman who always contributed immensely to this community. And all I can say is I'll miss him and my best to his family.
God bless him. This meeting is adjourned at 10:45 p.m.